Welcome back to the Retro Horror Academy. My name is Daniel Richardson.
I'm Tyler Phillips.
And yes, we are here to talk about the year in horror of 1961.
Yeah.
The top 10, as well as, some other films. And, of course, the Horror Hall of Fame, class of 1961.
1961. Yeah.
Before we really get started, I guess I want to apologize, what little group we have gathered, our followers, like we're a cult or something. I do want to apologize to you guys because it has been, 7 months?
7 months.
My God. I take full responsibility. Outside the hallowed halls of the Retro Hall or Horror Academy, I do have a job that takes me away. It's soul crushing. It's just, I've been working insane hours. I'm in a different time zone most of the time, and I'm on the road nonstop. This dude soldiered on. Like, this guy was ready to go 3 weeks after the last episode dropped. And unfortunately, I was dragging my feet because I just did not have time to get these movies watched in time. But I also didn't want to fake it for you guys. So I was like, no, we'll get it as soon as I get them watched. And unfortunately, it took 7 goddamn months. So
I was just wondering, do I get 7 months of back pay?
Just back pay right there.
Or are we going to work like the government where we're going to tell you you're not going to get your
That's
damn
exactly.
money?
Unfortunately, we are funded by the government, so they just gave us the finger and said, fuck off. So anyways, so with that said, now the way, I don't want to make any promises on a regular schedule, because I know there for a while, it kind of feels bad, because as soon as you made the jump to the show, we got one show out of the way, and then after that, it was just a 7,
Life changes happen.
It really did. I know before that, I was trying to drop one every month, give or take. But like I said, right now, it's going to be hit or miss. And unfortunately, it ain't just this. Everything on TPS Productions has been slowed way down. I've been on post-production on a short film for years now, and that was not even doing my job. That's just my normal life outside this thing, trying to, raise a kid and, keep things afloat, home side. So, I've been neglecting TPS all around. So I do apologize to, like I said, the handful of people who we have somehow acquired.
Those handful of people, y'all mean so much to me.
You really do. You have no idea. So, like I said, hopefully, you guys will stick around. I guess the good thing is you're not going to get overwhelmed with the content.
Yeah, that way it's kind of like that one, the Stranger Things. Like
exactly, yeah. We're going to
everybody is dying for that next season, man. When
was the last season of that?
January of last year.
It was later than that, wasn't it? Because I want to say I was still at Stone City. It's been
it may have been the year before that.
I don't say it. I know it's been a good chunk of time.
Damn good series.
Because honestly, we hadn't had Netflix in a while. I dropped as soon as that show ended this last season. I just canceled Netflix. I don't think I'll get it back because great thing about streaming, you can always find it on some kind of bootleg site. So it's I'm still going to watch a new season, but it just won't be,
They gave
properly.
They gave me a discount for being on disability, so I took it. So it's only $6.99 a month for me.
Beating that? Hell no.
I was
take what you can get. Absolutely.
Well, you guys enticing me.
So since we've been gone for so long, we're hitting you guys up with a massive induction class for this year's Horror Hall of Fame. Yeah. Biggest ever, 16 people. So let's get into it without any further ado. I was trying to make this, speed run this, and it's already taken about 5 minutes just to do the introduction, so I don't know how good we're going to speed run. Well, you got to remember, me and Tyler, we don't get together very often, so it's this is us catching up as well,
7 months to catch up.
It's what it is, so, and hopefully, you guys aren't just sitting here in front of a blank computer screen looking at whatever background I put on this thing. Hopefully you're in your car, you're driving to work, you're doing some housework, and just let us fill in that background noise for you.
If your wife is bitching at you, put an earbud in. Listen to us.
Hey, listen to us. We'll help you get through this rough patch. All right, so we're going to kick things off with the Horror Hall of Fame class of 1961. And the first inductee is Mr. Dwight V. Babcock. This guy, so he's a heavy hitter in the world of horror back here. Here's some stuff that we did not cover on this show. He was a writer for, I should mention he's a writer. He wrote Pillow of Death, Dead Man's Eyes. He did 3 episodes of Jungle Jim and The Brute Man. But you guys would know him from this show for being the writer of The Mummy's Curse, The Jungle Captive, House of Dracula, House of Horrors, and She-Wolf of London. For me, like I said, it's a collaborative effort here when we put together these Hall of Fame inductees. And for me, the reason why he gets the nod, is because, this guy has contributed so much to horror in general, especially in an era where it was kind of dying. These came from like the 40s and late 30s when horror was kind of on its last leg. It was really lean. So this guy was doing what he could to keep the fire alive for us. And I'm a fan. Mummy's Curse, I'm a big fan of. House of Dracula. Like, I love the Monster Mash movies. I'm a big fan of those. So yeah, when I saw his name on the list, I was like, he's in. So
you gotta respect somebody that stays in the business
in the genre,
that doesn't give it to you back.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, horror was always kind of like the ugly stepchild of cinema of Hollywood, and so for this guy to kind of contribute as much as he
you're
did.
in a horror movie.
It really is like So we're moving right along now. Up next, we got Lee Brackett, and he was the writer of The Vampire's Ghost. He was mostly known as a sci-fi writer. However, he worked with Howard Hawks quite a bit. I think his biggest claim to fame was probably going to be he was the writer, or one of the writers on Empire Strikes Back. But like I said,
he was one of the writers for the
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
Wow.
But like I said, being a writer for Vampires Ghost, he's in. I give it to him. I remember the story was really well for that, and I just remember thinking, like, you know what? You're in.
Deserves to be in.
Lee Brackett, you're in, buddy. But I ain't gonna lie, the fact that his name's so synonymous with the sci-fi genre, which is always kind of like on the fringe of horror. It's not horror, but they do kind of share this borderline thing, and they're both considered different genres outside of the norm. So he's an outsider. We're letting him in. So next we're going with George Cooper. George Cooper. He was an actor, and one thing that we didn't cover on here, he was known for The Unholy Knight, but on this show, we know him for The Skull. And you know what? I really enjoyed his work on The Skull, but I think and of course we didn't cover it, but I really liked him in The Unholy Knight. Anything?
That was the 1929.
That was it, yeah.
So George Cooper ran from like 1930 to the early 40s.
Oh yeah, he was a very prolific actor. Absolutely,
He stayed in pretty much anything he could. Also, what was it that it was? Yeah, it was involved in a series of murders among former officers from a British regiment.
Yeah,
the Unholy Knight.
The Unholy Knight, yep.
That right there, like, kind of, yeah. But I think Unholy Knight.
Yeah, no, he just saw, like I said, damn good actor. Like I think he's going to be mostly known for stuff outside the genre. But whenever we kind of get those outsiders, I always want to bring him in.
The Skull. What year did that come out in?
Skull was 1913.
1913.
Yeah.
Silent film. Okay.
So next we got Blake Edwards. He was in Strangler of the Swamp, which I was a big fan of. Go back to, I believe that was 46, 45. Either way, go back to that episode. You'll hear me just blow that movie hardcore. And yeah, again, he did good in it. I'm not saying that he was like a standout, but he almost gets like that legacy pass of just like, nah, you was in a great movie, so you're in. So up next we got Abel Gance. This dude, he was a writer, director, actor. He most known for his French films Help, J'accuse, and then his remake I Accuse. However, on this channel, we know him as the writer and director of The Mask of Horror, and he was an actor in The Fall of the House of Usher.
He was also in Napoleon.
Yes, he was. Yeah, I said
that movie. I watched that movie, even though I couldn't understand it. Still, though,
damn good. Yeah,
a decent movie to watch.
And see, I really, because this guy, he was a pioneer in French filmmaking, much like George Méliès, who was our first recipient of the Horror Hall of Fame. And so, again, this guy kind of laid the groundwork for future filmmakers as well, and he wore many hats. And, again, Fall of the House of Usher, very surreal. He's a director. I guess, again, he's worked so many different things.
But being a director got him into a little trouble in 1948.
Oh, I don't know about this. Hit me up.
He was faced with a debt owed to the Kodiak. I can't pronounce it. Pathé Laboratories.
Oh yeah, they do films and shit. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So he
Kodak Pathé, I think is
Kodak
yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. If we're wrong on any of these pronunciations, you got to remember
because
me and Tyler are just American white trash, so
Yeah.
we're not cultured. Please drop a comment down below and let us know if when we're mispronouncing. But go ahead, sorry.
He got in trouble for the film Napoleon.
Oh, really?
Yes. So he used all the money given to him by his backers for the first of what he was intended to be in a 6-film series.
But he didn't do 6 films.
He didn't do 6 films.
That's fraud.
You can't do that.
Abel,
you can't tell them that
buddy.
you're going to do 6 films and then only do 1 film and keep the money.
That's brilliant.
But you know what? It gives me an idea.
But there you go. We should do a series of films.
You should do a series of films and then only just
Get that first one. Get that first one out of the way. Don't you worry about that. The only thing I do know about Abel outside of this is he is often credited with being the inventor of the film montage.
Okay.
So at one point, it's like, how do we get to show someone's progress quickly? Let's just show a bunch of images together, put some music behind it. And thank you, Abel Gance. So welcome to the Horror Hall of Fame, buddy. You earned it. So now we move on next. We have Anne Gwynn, actress. Some movies that she did that we did not touch on. Teenage Monster and Murder in the Blue Room. But on this show, we know her for Black Friday, Weird Woman, and House of Frankenstein. I'm a big fan of hers. She's also one of these that's considered one of the first string queens of horror. I would say she, main girl in Weird Woman, House of Frankenstein. She was Boris Karloff's daughter in Black Friday. Just another girl that I wish she would have done more. Actually, because when I saw her name, I was like, I know that name because I've just I've watched these movies. I assumed she did so much more horror films, and she really hadn't. And I was a little kind of sad by that. But what she did do, always loved her.
Is that her in the original, like the original Black Friday?
The old. The one with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. Yeah, she played.
That was like to set the standard for that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
They're still making those to these days.
Right? Yeah. Damn good. So then we have up next Rondo Hatton. We don't do like the head of class or anything like that, or a main eventer, a headliner of our Hall of Fame induction.
We want to find that average Joe in the back.
If we were to do that, Rondo Hatton would be the headliner of this one. So anyways, movies that we didn't cover, The Pearl Death and The Brute Man. However, what we did cover, The Jungle Captive, The Spider Woman Strikes Back, and House of Horrors. Rondo Hatton, I always felt bad for the guy because I don't know if you know much about Rondo Hatton.
I don't.
So he was born with that, it has a name.
Asperger's?
No. He like giantism, but it made his face look kind of weird. He was a big hulking man. He had he always played villainous roles like a henchman in like crime movies. But then they're like, hey, put him in a horror film. Because he did a movie, he did one of the Sherlock Holmes movies. And so they decided like, hey, we'll take him, make him a horror spinoff. And so he was kind of dubbed the universal monster who doesn't need makeup. Which I always thought was a little mean-spirited, but from all accounts, he never took it that way because he was just happy to be a star.
Yeah.
And I do love that because I had a friend, I still have a friend, I shouldn't say had, sorry, that sounded like he died. He's still around. But I have a friend who, he lost a leg. But I was seeing him posting on Facebook and everything. And he was in all these horror films. And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, how'd you get into doing this? He goes, dude, I'm missing a leg. He goes, anytime that someone needs a guy who gets his leg ripped off in a movie, they call me. And he was just beaming. And I was just like, dude, that's the perfect attitude to have. Because, I think most people, if you had your leg removed, you'd just be like, I'm done. And this guy found a way to take that negative and turn it into a positive. And I feel like Rondo Hatton was definitely the embodiment
Pretty
of that.
easy laying on concrete and just
Oh, absolutely.
blood down.
Oh, dude, I'd love it. But no, Rondo Hatton, like I said, he's very memorable from the 40s as, a horror icon. Unfortunately, he would pass away due to that, disease he had. In fact, I forget what his last film was. I remember I covered it, but whatever it was, he never got to watch it in theaters, which is, kind of a sad note. But we get to honor him and have him in our Horror Hall of Fame. So, congratulations, Rondo Hatton.
It doesn't sound like he should be in a lot more Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely. He really should be. In fact, it's funny because he actually there's a handful of film festivals that are dedicated to him, that are named after him. Mm-hmm. And so I've actually submitted some of our films to the Rondo Hatton Film Festival or whatever. We never got in, but, So, no, Rondo's legacy, it's well cemented, luckily. So,
That's good.
So, moving right along now, John Howard. Some stuff that we didn't cover. The Unknown Terror, The Invisible Woman. He did an episode of Lights Out and an episode of Suspense. But we know him for The Undying Monster. This guy was known, he did the Bulldog Drummond crime movies. He was the cop. And really known for that for his career, but he did a lot of other stuff. You got anything that...
He was in over 80 films.
Jesus Christ.
And, of course, he lived for a long time. He went 1913 to 1995, so...
Good run.
He's seen everything that you could imagine, all the American history that you would...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
that you would want to see enough of in the 1900s. So he also, he did a lot of he was into romantic movies.
Yeah, I did know he did a lot more than just horror, obviously.
He did like the soft side of doing films, but that makes a good person if you can take being into a disgustingly horror film and then you can turn around and be in like Full House or something.
No, absolutely. You've definitely got that. You're well rounded at that point. It's
80 films and numerous TV shows. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Well, I see there, Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't realize that was him for a second. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Though I'm definitely picturing it. So no, I'm definitely glad we got old John Howard in the
definitely. After some of these, after you find out about him, you really wonder, like, why don't we hear more about him?
I think honestly,
is this the time?
I think this is too much time passed, and not a lot of people will go back and watch these movies.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that the older I get, it's like I remember even when I was young, and we're talking, in the early 2000s when DVDs were still kind of the height, and you can buy all these cheapy movies in a $5 bin. You had a group that would go back and kind of watch the old black and white film, the old silent stuff, but not as much. But I think even now it's so much far removed that now this next generation has no. And I mean, I'm not going to say I blame them because
you got to stay with times.
Not just that, but I mean, it can be a rough watch. Like I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of silent movies. I will only claim 3 or 4 of them as good, and the rest of them are just kind of like, well, I'm glad I watched them, but at the same time, I'll never bust them back out, There's only a handful of them. It's like, no, I actually own this, and I do like it. I think Nosferatu is fucking, classic. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Family Opera.
As I say, Family Opera is...
Oh, it's a classic, yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
So it's like I said, I think, but for every one of those, you're going to have a shit ton of just garbage. And I get that. I think that's one thing that really kind of opened me up to doing this show too, is just the fact that even though I like to think myself as like this horror movie knowledgeable guy who just knows everything about horror, I really don't. And so when I went back and started watching a lot of these older movies, it gave me a deeper appreciation, not just for the films, but I guess what went into them at the time and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just interesting to me. So I think a lot of people, unless if you're just passionate about film, you're not going to care. I always say that. I think there's 2 kinds of people who like movies. You have people who like movies, and you like people who like film.
Yeah.
The difference is, I can talk to a million people who love movies. They like, I'm not knocking anybody out there who does this. Believe me, do your thing. But a lot of people will just be like, you watch a movie, you watch like a Fast and Furious or a Transformers, and you're just like, yeah, fucking yeah, woo, shit's blowing up, and and there's nothing wrong with that. I like mindless action too. I'm a fucking fan of the '80s. Like I grew up with like Schwarzenegger, Stallone blowing shit up. Like the plot was never really the important thing in those movies. You're just watching some kick-ass movies. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also the group of people who you'll watch a movie, and while one person is going like, yeah, or they're bored or what, I'm looking at it like through that, like, okay, the director made an interesting choice here, or, the color scheme's great, or, the music. Like, you appreciate what goes into it from a technical standpoint. You appreciate it as more like a piece of art than just entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those. In fact, like I said, I can do both. And I think a lot of people can do both. But I think for the most part, when you talk to the casual movie fans, horror fans included, it is more about the entertainment part of it.
Well, I mean, and plus, back then, doing the effects that they accomplished.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they went on a wing with it. It wasn't something that you could Google.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it was, you had to, look in
we
a
just
book
mentioned Abel Gance inventing the montage.
Yeah.
You had no frame of reference.
Yeah.
You didn't even, you had to invent stuff on the go. And so a lot, and you said special effects was like, there was no Google.
Yeah.
There was no Tom Savini, like, hey, ask that guy, he's done a million. No, it was like, how are we going to make this work on camera? And they did it. And I think that's really the big thing that I'm loving about this series.
On the fly stuff, I wondered, that's what I always thought was, how much of this are they doing on the fly, and how much are they actually studying?
I would say early on, a lot of it was on the fly. I think a lot of it was a lot of experimental, a lot of trial and error. I will guarantee it. All right, so moving right along. Next, we have Alan Jones. One that we didn't cover was a film called SS Coast Guard, which he directed. But on this show, he was the writer and director of The Phantom. Again, another one of those guys where I'm just like, you know what? I definitely respect what he put into it. But he was always, like, he's known in the world of horror, even though we didn't cover a lot of it.
Well, in the UK, he's big.
Oh, okay. Go. What you got for me?
He is one of the co-directors of the film for Fright Fest, a major UK horror film fest.
Different Alan Jones.
Is that a
different Alan Jones? This guy, this guy's long dead.
Oh.
I saw you. I said the note there. He wrote the book in 2005.
How many Alan Jones were doing this?
Honestly, there's a lot of Alan. That's a pretty common name on that.
I even went back 20 years from the 1960 to like the 1940 and researched.
This guy.
Google doesn't know how to separate. Even though you think it's smart, it doesn't know how to separate.
Yeah, no, like I said, so this guy, he was definitely more from like the silent era and early talkies or whatever. So, but no, like I said, fan of the Phantom, he's getting the nod for that. Next we have Andrea.
Definitely not a Fright Fest.
Not a Fright Fest guy, but you know what? I mean, if he was still alive, who knows? Maybe. So next we got Andrea King. She did, we didn't cover, but she did an episode of the Matinee Theater. However, people from this channel would know her from, she was the actress in The Beast with 5 Fingers. Again, go back to the episode I talked about that. Huge fan of that. So yeah, she, kind of gets the nod just for that, but she had this classic beauty to her. And I think a lot of girls from this era, or actresses from this era, had that classical look. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker. My heart will melt each time. So,
did you say she was in the movie The Beast with 5 Fingers?
Beast with 5 Fingers. Yep, had a
So implying that she only had one arm.
Bop, 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 bop. Yes.
Okay. Because I was trying to. I was like, what? So what makes it so special?
The real good movie. I'm blanking on the actor. He's part Asian. He was in M. God damn it! I shouldn't be blanking on this guy. Anyway, but he's in it, and dude's just brilliant. They'll come to me as the show goes on. I won't hold us up on it, but yeah, Beast with 5 Fingers, I highly recommend. Up next, we got Rosemary LaPlanche. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And of course, we know her from Devil Bat's Daughter, Strangler in the Swamp, and Zombies on Broadway. She had a tiny role, a cameo on Zombies on Broadway. But again, she stole my heart in Strangler from the Swamp. I mentioned that movie earlier. And
So they actually do the Broadway film like...
So in that one, it was more like a horror comedy, but basically these dudes kind of get mixed up with these gangsters, and they have to produce an actual. We're talking voodoo zombie, not fleshing zombie, but they had to produce a zombie on stage, and she plays one of the showgirls, in that right there. But yeah, again.
You think it made a lot of money doing it, like
on Broadway, you mean, or
like on the Broadway, like back?
You know what? I would think.
They had a pretty good little paycheck.
I would think so. Honestly, because stage is not my area of expertise. But recently, I go to a lot of movie news sites, and they'll start incorporating other stuff. And they were talking about the Broadway box office. And I'm just I was kind of dumbfounded because I was I didn't think about that. But I'm like, well, Yeah, there has to be. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I would say because you hear about a lot of these just from doing the show. Like Boris Karloff was a stage actor before he became. So was Bela Lugosi. A lot of them were stage actors because at that time there was no film until and but they made a living. So I mean, clearly you had to. I guess they was paying something, But again, there was no theaters like movie theaters at the time. So that was your entertainment. Was
what the Depression just came right out
exactly.
of the Depression, right?
And you gotta assume that'd be cheaper to go see a stage play than it would have been to see a movie.
Probably.
Although I'll say at that point you're probably paying a nickel for the movie and then like a penny for.
So you're probably not getting
a wooden penny.
You thought you would probably get, but
I do remember like shifting gears for a split second. Sorry guys, I know we're dragging this out, but fuck it, you're here. Anyways,
it's a fucking podcast.
May or may not be listening. Who knows? We're just talking to the boys at this point. I remember my grandmother would tell me that though. She talked about how when she was little, and she was born in 1935. But she'd tell me like in the 40s it was like less than a dime for her and her sister to go see and then back then it wasn't just like a movie. It was like you'd see a series of short cartoons, a movie. They would have use like a newsreel in the middle of that, and then another movie. So you were literally at the movies for like 4 hours, sometimes something like that. Maybe a little bit less because movies were shorter back then. But either way, it's an event. And then she'd be like, and we also got popcorn, drinks, candy, all under a dime. And I'm just like, that's insane. But I remember in the early 2000s, like people were bitching about. I used to work at a movie theater, and they were bitching about the prices then.
Yeah.
And it was like less than $10 would be a combo, and they'd be like, "That's outrageous!" And now it's like close to $20 for a combo.
Yeah, I mean, like when my grandma and grandpa took me to see Jurassic Park, I think it was like kids got in free.
Yeah. So
we got in free, and they paid $5 or something like that, and if you was to get what we got, then it cost you $60, $70.
Oh, dude. And, like I said, we don't go to movies as much as we used to, but we went to go see Now You See Me, Now You Don't recently, and I forget how much I paid on that shit. But it was, because it was our anniversary, so I went all out, bought the combo, got nachos on the side, tickets. I mean, yeah.
That had to have been
dude, I got
40.
I got raped. Oh, it's definitely more than that even. I mean, I couldn't tell you now, but it was insane. So now we got Caroline Lombard. Lombard? I think I'm pronouncing that right. Hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Caroline,
Anyways.
we're sorry, Caroline.
She was a producer and actress, but she did... she's an actress, but she did the movie we know her for, Supernatural. Yeah. However, I think the reason I kind of gave her the nod, it wasn't for her role in Supernatural. She was in Alfred Hitchcock's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I will always Hitchcock's always going to be it's always going to be a pass for me. I will always kind of give him, a nod. And she was like Hollywood royalty. Like, she was married to, who the fuck was it? He was Gone to Win. Clark Gable. Clark Gable. She was married to Clark Gable. Yep. And so she, again, she's kind of bringing this fucking old Hollywood with her. So I don't know. I gave her the pass for that. Unfortunately, she did pass away fairly early in her career. So I mean, it was kind of it's kind of tragic.
So I have she died in 1942.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why. Yeah, she didn't.
So
make
her actual birth name is Jane Alice Peters.
Well, that's nice. She could have went by Jane Alice. Probably left the Peters out. I'm immature. I'm sorry. I would have definitely made that joke there.
She would have. I would have had to leave.
Would have done that. I would have been.
Well, I mean, if it was more like the 1990s, you would have definitely got some.
Oh yeah.
Grief for.
I don't know. I was pretty loose with.
Do you think
with
Jane
those jokes.
Peters?
I definitely. I don't know. We were pretty loose with that stuff even up to like the mid 2000s. People didn't start getting too sensitive about that until about 2010.
It said that she died in a plane crash.
Okay, I knew she died young. I couldn't remember what it was.
She died of a plane crash.
Oh, there you go then. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So
while returning from a World War II Bond tour.
Oh, there you go. So
that'd be, you know how crappy that'd be.
That's serving our country. Showing entertainment. For the troops, and that sucks. Well, I'm glad we get to honor her. Here. That's the good thing right there.
She's honored somewhere.
Absolutely, you are in our hallowed halls of this Hall of Fame. Up next, we got Robert Lowry. The movie we didn't cover, which I've seen before, and I actually really liked it, The Monster and the Ape. However, on this channel, we got him for Revenge of the Zombies, The Mummy's Ghost, and House of Horrors. But I was surprised doing my research that, and I didn't recognize the name at first. I liked him in Mummy's Curse, or was it Ghost? I think Curse or Ghost. Either one, I liked him.
I think it's a Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah.
And Revenge of the Zombies all right. It wasn't as good as King of the Zombies. I remember just being disappointed, but I remember thinking he did all right. But his big claim to fame was he was Batman in the 1949 movie serial, and which is, I don't know, I wasn't huge on the two movie serials. In fact, the only one I really liked, and I'll get a little bit of heat for this, that's okay. I'll take the heat. This does not reflect Tyler. Did you ever see the 1943, I believe, Batman and Robin serial?
Mm-mm. No, I don't
Super racist, and it's funny.
Yeah.
So you gotta remember, at the time, it's the height of World War II, and Pearl Harbor happened recently, and they do this Batman movie. But instead, because I guess initially, the way I heard it, I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me. It's supposed to be the Joker, because that's who is Batman's main villain from the beginning. The fucking Joker. They were going to do this movie serial for Batman, and they were like, well, wait a minute. Instead of doing the Joker, let's just make it a Japanese gangster.
Okay.
And so the whole movie, the serial, and I'm not making this up, check it out. You can find it on Tubi or something like that. It's just Batman, using slurs against the Japanese. And it's so bad, but I'm sorry. I can't help but chuckle and laugh every time. I'll say one of them. I'm not going to use a slur, but I'll say one of them. At one point, he says something like, you're as cowardly, or your cowardice reflects the color of your skin, or something like that. And I'm just like, Batman, what are you doing, buddy? And I looked it up, and it turns out, I'm like, well, maybe it was acceptable at the time. I guess they got some backlash even then.
Well,
it's World War II, and they're like, listen, we shouldn't be saying this stuff. We're mad.
Start picking and
We're going to drop a bomb. Don't worry about that. But don't say these
and
things.
Just in case they didn't get the first hit, we're going to drop
another one, But, so anyways, so just so you know, Robert Lowry was in the non-racist Batman serial. Which is why I probably forgot
that would have been
it.
a hell of a time to be
Batman fan, or just...
No, to actually pull that racism like that.
It's weird because just doing the show alone, I realized that, because I thought, and this is where I guess my ignorance comes into play, I assumed it was just socially acceptable.
Yeah.
We'll just do it, whatever. And it turns out, when I looked it up, that there was even outcry then, where people were just like, yeah, you can't do that. So I forget which movie we did, one of the silent ones. He was the guy who did Birth of a Nation, so he already has racial whatever. But he did a horror film that I covered, and they had characters in blackface. Now, they had black actors too, but they also had white characters in blackface, which felt very unnecessary, because the character that he's playing was like, you didn't need a skilled actor there. You could have used the black guy, but they're just like, give Jim the job. So anyways,
give Jim the job.
Jim needs the job. Pay him up. So anyways, so yes,
Jim needs bread to take home.
So Robert Lowry in the Horror Hall of Fame. We took a weird detour there. That's what you get this show, though. So up next we got Willard Mack. This guy was a writer, director, and actor. He wrote such films as the on this show that we covered, The Monster and Night of Terror. And of course, he would eventually, he would pass. Again, he's just another one of these guys that I thought he did more, but I keep seeing his name pop up, so I was just like, oh, Willard Mack, of course. Turns out he only popped up twice, I guess, but I just remembered the name Willard Mack. But you know what? You got anything? I'm sorry, you got anything on it?
No, the time that he was going in, it was in the late 1800s,
he was a silent guy,
He was a silent era. So him taking what little he had, just like everybody else on the list, and and making it as big as he can.
Absolutely,
it's a trend that we have noticed is these guys and girls are taking whatever little scrap they can,
and not just that though, but by doing so, you are creating this foundation of horror.
Yes,
and that's what we're looking at more than anything else.
That's what we always said. The foundation that horror movies was built on will never be broken.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Because without it, there is nothing above it.
Absolutely. All right, so now we're going on to John T. Neville. He wrote The Devil Bat and The Flying Serpent. And again, another guy that I thought did more. But I really like, despite some bad reviews for both The Devil Bat and The Flying Serpent, I actually personally enjoy them both. So I was like, you know what? I'm giving this guy his due. And finally, we got Gladys Watson. And or Walton, sorry, Gladys Walton.
You know the name Gladys? You remember that strange alien movie where she's in the diner and she's eating the steak raw?
What was that? Yeah.
What is that name of that? I love that movie, but that old lady in there, she was eating that with the flies on it. She's like, my name's Gladys.
Yeah. Dude, I can picture that clear as day, but I cannot think what that movie was.
Yeah, because it has what's his name in it as the dad.
I am blanking.
Oh my gosh, he plays in wow, what is it?
You guys at home, help us out.
No
you know what we're
shit.
talking about. But Gladys Walton was in The Ape. And again, just a movie I enjoyed and just kind of always associate her with that movie. So I threw her the bone. I threw her in there. So there you have it, guys. Massive goddamn list here.
But people that are well deserved.
Well deserved it. And I'm glad we can at least shine a little light on some of these unknown people. You know what I mean? So we're moving right along now. Just like in 1960, we have 3 honorable mention films that we'll just kind of briefly touch on. The first one we're going to touch on is The Beast of Yucca Flats. And basically what it is you got this, he's a defector from Soviet Russia who, he's transporting secrets across the desert or some shit, but basically he gets infected by radiation, turning him into, you guessed it, the Beast.
The Beast.
Of Yucca Flats. So, I guess I'll start us off with this. This was a chore to get through.
Yeah.
So, the movie, they clearly didn't know. They didn't act with this thing. It was almost shot documentary style, which was the first crazy thing. There's not much dialogue, and it's just long shots of people wandering in the goddamn desert.
The one gas station scene?
Yeah. So, I don't know. This movie, but where it has a little bit of a soft spot for me, and I'm not going to lie, I've been guilty of this in the past on this show. I'm a huge fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Have you ever watched?
I have not, no.
If you like listening to people just rip on movies, basically what it is, there's a gimmick of like it's a guy in space who gets kidnapped, taken to space for an experiment, and he's super smart, so he creates these robot companions. But then what they do to make him go insane is they send him shitty movies. And so he has to watch these shitty movies. So then basically you get these skits, but then between the skits, it's the movie. Yeah. But then it's like a dark out theater, and it's just first it was Joel, then it was Mike. They changed after that with several guests or hosts, but Joel and Mike. But they'll have their robot companions, and they just make fun of the movie. Yeah. I discovered this really late in life. It was probably in my mid-20s. And so I was late to the party, but when I watched that, I fell in love. So I went back, and you can find them anywhere. I mean, just every streaming service has something with Mystery Science Theater 3000. But anyways, I remember this episode, and it was so hilarious. So when it came time to do our rankings, I was like, I feel like this deserves the honorable mention, because it's just like, yeah, it's a bad movie. Oh, man. But, my God, it was so funny in that. And I always kind of give a big thumbs up for the actual Beast. Get the note right there. Tor Johnson. But he was in Plan 9 for Outer Space, another really shitty movie that I also enjoy. So, what are your thoughts on The Beast of Yucca Flats?
The director, Coleman Francis, not trying to be that guy, but for me, I'll never watch it again. IMDb gives it a 1.9, which I think that is the...
Yeah, one's the lowest you can go with
one of the lowest scores that you can go. But to be fair, their budget was only $34,000. That's all the money they had to make this movie.
You can tell.
You can tell. Of course, nobody gives official box office data.
There wasn't much on this.
There wasn't much.
There is no way.
I'm thinking that they took a loss.
Oh, I would.
Like a loss that probably said we're not going to do another one.
I know I lost it. I will say, I'm not suggesting, but if you do watch it again, watch the Mystery Science Theater version. That's the only way to watch it. If I'm telling everybody at home, do not waste your time with this movie.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It really isn't.
No.
Even from like at least I can see it. You don't need to see it. You're not missing anything. This movie truly is.
It's not even good enough to put on to go to sleep.
It's brutal. But like I said, if you want a good laugh, I would say definitely check out.
If you just want to watch a pissed off guy that's deformed walk around the desert,
just stumbling around,
go ahead.
So there you have it, the Beast of Eagle Flat. So our next honorable mention, and yes, as you mentioned, it was 1.9.
It is a 1.9. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I always feel bad trying to rank something super low because, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. As an underground filmmaker myself, I know the struggles of making movies like this.
Yeah, but
I also know that if you have no money, find a girl who will show her tits, and that will kind of boost it up. And I've done that twice, so it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to make a bad movie, give the audience something. They gave us nothing in this movie.
Crack
a joke.
They made it 54 minutes long.
It feels longer.
It was literally 40 minutes too damn long.
I didn't know that. I assumed this thing was like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm not making that up. I truly thought this was just a long ass movie because my God, it's so.
It does. It seems like
shit.
There is no dialogue.
All right, we'll move off from. But anyways, so up next we got El Mundos de los Vampiros. Hope we're pronouncing that right. If we're not, we apologize. This comes from Mexico. The basic plot here is this vampire is getting revenge, and he uses these two sisters to kind of help him do so. I'll be honest with you. So prior to doing this show, I knew very little outside of Guillermo del Toro when it came to like Mexican horror. Actually, just Mexican cinema in general, with the exception, I guess, of Robert Rodriguez. But outside of like mainstream, I knew nothing about Mexican films at all. Doing this show, I was shocked at how many horror films that Mexico produced, even like date back to like the silent era. So watching them, I'll be honest with you, I went into them going, this is going to be complete dog shit. I mean, that sounds horrible. It had nothing to do with foreign language. I love like Japanese films. I love, British films. I love, I'm not just like USA only. No, I love international cinema. But there are just certain countries that whenever I watch their films, I just don't, I'm not a big fan of like Indian films. I don't know why. I can't get into it. However, I do want to start watching these new action movies coming out there because they look fucking ridiculous. Yeah. But I'm just saying but typically horror films, and that's usually what I watch when I watch international cinema.
IMDb gave us a 5.5.
Well, so that's what they'll say was, when I started watching these Mexican films, I had such low expectations that I was shocked at how good a lot of them were. And so, as I'm watching this movie even, I remember thinking, this is actually solid. I actually enjoy it. I remember when you watched it, you texted me. I didn't know what you were talking about first, but you were just like, Mortal Kombat, the pit. And so when I watch it, there's the same where New Fall, and they're just right on the spikes. I'm just like, oh shit, that's what Tyler was talking about. Yes, finish him. Go ahead, Noah. Let me know what you think about this.
I like, not being able to know what they're saying and stuff like that. Kind of,
I don't remember. Did we actually have proper subtitles on this one, or was this the Google?
I didn't have any subtitles.
Okay, so I had the Google Translate subtitles, which means you might as well just not have subtitles anyways. I don't know if you guys ever use Google Translate. It's shit. I don't recommend using.
So they don't actually keep up with.
No, and they'll say things wrong. It'll be weird. You'll be watching a movie from the 30s, and I forget which one of the Aztec versus movies I watched. Or Mummy versus whatever movies I watched from Mexico. But at one point, they're just like, my cellular telephone. And I'm just like, fuck, guys. It's not even, it's not even like a phone around.
It's not a phone
But it's just Jesus Christ. So it's just Google Translate's bad. I remember we had one, I couldn't remember which one it was, but it was this one. Go ahead, sorry.
It was, I did like how he's, seeking vengeance on the Coleman family.
Yeah.
Stuff it was good. I don't know if I could watch it again.
Yeah. If it had proper subtitles, if they would actually release the DVD or put it on streaming with the subtitles, it would be an easier watch. And I feel like that way with a lot of the movies I've watched. I've seen a few, not from this era, but Brazilian films that were the same way where they couldn't get proper subtitles, so I had to use Google Translate. And I'll read enough about it. When I know I'm going into it like that, I will go ahead and spoil it and read ahead and try to get some kind of a plot, just so I know when I'm watching it, I'm kind of keeping up with it.
Yeah.
It's not 100%, and I'll be the first to admit, but with this movie, I do remember thinking I kept up the plot pretty well. Like, it's not too crazy. Again, knowing who's who, the character, that helped out. So had I not known that, what the plot was eventually going to be, I'd probably be a little bit lost, but the fact that okay, this vampire is using these two girls.
It's one of those things you definitely want to go into, like, find out what it's about before you kind of watch the movie. You know, you're not going to obviously know exactly everything that happened, but you want to kind of a gist of what's going on.
So, I'll say, honestly, I'm giving it a thumbs up. I like
thumbs up, yeah.
IMDb gave this thing a
5.5.
5.5, yep. And that seems fair. That seems pretty good there. So
I would give it in the 5 to 5.5. Yeah, I wouldn't go underneath the 5, even though it has the a little bit of the language barrier. Yeah. But still, though, the action that was on the screen kept you watching the whole movie until it ended.
And I noticed too. And again, I'm not trying to make myself seem more cultured or anything like that. I have noticed this about doing a lot of these movies in foreign languages that have those subtitles. I've gotten better at adapting and just picking it up. Again, I have to have a plot summary beforehand, but I have noticed like it is kind of weirdly strange how easily I can kind of fall into it. Like, I don't know. So moving on now to our last honorable mention, a little film called Werewolf in a Girls' Dormitorium. Basically, you got all these victims being seemingly torn apart by these werewolves, or by a werewolf, or some kind of beast. And everyone now is starting to suspect the new teacher who's shown up, or a new person who's shown up at this place. So this is another one that gets a lot of shit, but honestly, I didn't mind it. I guess maybe because my standards are so low.
Yeah.
And if I hear something's bad, I'll usually go into it wanting to defend it a little bit. Honestly, I was okay with it. It wasn't reinventing the wheel. It was basically the same kind of shit we've seen a million times before, but I don't know. I thought it was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. The IMDb gives it a 4.8, which I guess I would keep it around that range. Maybe give it a little higher. I guess depending on who you are, you have to be the type of person that wants to see that kind of movie, enjoy that film. You can't just go into it going, I'm going to hate this shit.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be kind of open for a lot of these.
You have to be open to be open.
Now, if you're open, you still hate it, that's different.
That's different, though, but at least you tried.
Exactly.
Director Pablo, I tried so hard to pronounce.
This was a Italian movie. Yeah, so just at the top of the thing.
Yeah. We should have let you know in ahead that we're not going to be able to read half the names.
No.
But for what it was, though, I could watch it again.
All right. So it also had a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
and the girls were pretty cute.
Dude, Italian women are gorgeous, and you'll be pressed to find a bad one in the bunch. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, but the I don't know. Maybe it's just like the old days of wearing the real loose clothing look.
Well, and I know with French cinema and Italian cinema, they're very free with their bodies. They don't really... Actually, even UK to a certain degree. I know it seems kind of like they're stuffier over there, but we've been watching a lot of Hammer films. Yeah. Like, Hazel Court's showing some nice cleavage. She's just letting that shit hang out, and I'm all for it. Barbara Steele, same thing. She's just like, look at these.
If anybody can pull it off, it's Hammer.
Yeah, they knew what the hell they were doing. All right, so let's get into our actual top 10, shall we? We're going to kick things off at number 10, Bloodlust. Actually, I should say it, Bloodlust!
Bloodlust with a damn exclamation mark at the end.
So, basically with this movie, you get these two couples that they end up going on this private island, and then they end up getting hunted by the guy who runs this island, who owns this island. So this movie is based, they didn't give any credit to, but it was based on The Most Dangerous Game, which we covered that on the show prior. It was filmed in 1959, but it was not released until 1961.
Yep.
So here's the thing. This movie has got shit reviews. I did not find a single good review when I was doing my in-depth on this one. But I like this movie. I'm a big fan of the Most Dangerous Game. Personally, my favorite version is the remake in the 80s with Ice-T called Surviving the Game. I think it's a great story of just trapping somebody and then letting them loose and we're going to hunt you. That's fucking awesome to me. So, as cheesy and, the acting isn't great on this, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's just very mid. I don't know.
I just thought of something. So,
no, go ahead.
Oh, you said, finding somebody, trapping them, and then putting them on an island and hunting them.
Yeah.
I was just like, it wasn't Epstein Island, was it?
Oh, man. Perhaps. I didn't see the list yet, so I can't verify. I don't want to say anything yet. I don't want to incriminate myself just yet. But anyways, Bloodlust. This movie, I was a big fan of. Again, I get the detractors. I get people who don't like it, it's cheap. But for me, when it comes to low budget cinema, a story will hook me just about every time. Aside from titties, obviously, but seriously, titties will always trump. I'll be like, this movie shit. Oh wait, the titties, never mind. I'm sold. But the storyline will always kind of and so I was a big fan of this storyline.
Well, I like it because I like the hunting aspect of it. So in the 80s, they had a lot of movies that played out to be like a game, like. If you survive, we'll give you this much money, but we're also going to have bounty hunters. Yeah. Riding your ass the whole time, but IMDb didn't really give it too much of a score. It gives it a 3.6, but the budget on it is only $50,000 to $150,000.
Yeah.
So it's not like it has.
Well, this is definitely, you can tell it's definitely a drive-in film. Probably.
Yeah, it was definitely a drive-in.
You tell. So and I'm okay with that.
We didn't get any gross numbers off of it, so obviously it wasn't smack a lack.
I would say I didn't get any either. So.
But. Was this the one that was posted? I don't know why that says that. Why does it say this?
What's that?
It says what this says right here.
So you tell the mask earlier. Well, that's the movie we're going to cover next, actually. So that's I would say you get your notes mixed up over there.
Shit. Okay, never mind. I hope that's the right shit that I was giving you. We're definitely going to have to cut this part out.
It's all. No, we like to show this show with blemishes and all.
This is you're getting a hardcore. Listen, the amount of stuff that we use to do the research is nothing more than some Walmart computers.
No doubt. That's literally it. And so, two guys in their 40s who literally just...
Two guys in their 40s, and one of them, they can't remember what he did the day before.
So we'll move right along now to our number 9 film.
Number 9?
Film called The Mask. Yes. Basically, in this one, what happens is this dude he gets a mask. It's like an Aztec mask, and he believes it's changing him and turning him into something he don't want to be. And so to kind of stop this curse or whatever, he ends up killing himself. But before he does, he sends it to this psychiatrist with like a note telling him, this mask is cursed. Now, why he didn't just, chuck this shit somewhere or burn it or I don't know. He sends it to someone else basically saying, like, this is cursed, but here, I'm going to give it to you. And then kill himself, get himself out of it. Anyways, the psychiatrist now gets it, and now he, too, is... Why
didn't he want to be buried with it?
See, I think that'd be perfect. Yeah, if you're really that concerned, be like, well, I'll just be buried. I'll put in my will. But bury me in the mask, and then
with the mask.
There you go.
You would solve it. The thing was, it felt like he wanted it to continue, but he himself didn't want to be a part of the continuum.
It felt like a H.P. Lovecraft device where basically you always hear that where someone's going to be like writing that journal. I have unlocked horrible, the gates of hell. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Don't follow my mistakes, but I'm leaving behind the instructions to do it. And it's like if you just throw that book away right now and quit writing and then kill yourself. No one's going to know. But every time someone finds that book, well, this guy,
And you have to, and the thing is he gives it to somebody that's interested in it. That was the main part. But
what guy do is like he studied not just the culture but mask in general as well.
Yeah.
So this film, it was a Canadian release. This thing was shot in 3D. In fact, this was the first Canadian film to be distributed internationally. So the fact that it's a horror film, that's pretty fucking cool. I don't know if this is true anymore, but maybe for the time, this is the first Canadian and only Canadian film to be shot in 3D. That don't seem right. You mean tell me like even after this, no one made another 3D movie?
No.
What I read. So if I'm wrong, if someone out there who's Canadian knows if you guys made more 3D movies, give me a shout out.
The budget was $300,000.
Yeah, not bad for that time.
That's
actually.
not bad for that time. So they ended up grossing 1.5.
Look at that.
That's
That's
damn
good.
5 times your.
No, absolutely.
You cannot be mad about that. So
you saw. What were your thoughts? Give us your review of this.
I like these kind of films. But what I just don't understand is why he had to off himself.
Couldn't live with it anymore.
I know, but
couldn't do it anymore.
But what if he could, and he would have used the mask, like
Jim Carrey?
Like Jim Carrey. Yeah, exactly.
With the Jim Carrey out?
You have that power.
That's brilliant.
And you just want to get rid of it. No, I don't know. It was also released as Eyes of Hell.
Okay, alternate time. You see, you get a lot of that in these older because you go to other countries and or other drive-ins, and some not even like an American release. They have like 2 or 3 different titles when they release it or whatever.
And it was also the spooky movie show.
Okay.
So I what I don't like is I don't like how they take. I mean, I understand like back then. It may have not been as bad as it was, looked at today or something.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Yeah.
You made a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely did.
That's the goal, right?
I think the 3D probably helped that out a lot. The fact that, I'm assuming this is an international gross too, but it's also like, in Canada, they didn't have any 3D movies that were there, so I'm sure a lot of people came out for support of that in general as well.
Yep.
So
when you bring something like that to people that don't get a chance to see 3D and for 1960s,
see, now I'm wondering that too, because I know America had been doing 3D movies since the 50s, but how much of that was actually international, you think? Do you think they actually did send that shit out? I really don't know, to be honest with you.
I bet they sent it out and then they requested a portion of payment.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely. Yeah, I'm just saying though. Did they actually send out the? I guess it wouldn't be that hard to just send the glasses like that out too. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I think they did. Yeah, I think they had a helping hand.
But the thing is, like I said, at this point, that's the crazy thing that this movie made so much because like the 3D fad was going out at this point.
Yeah.
This wasn't even like a second wave. Like the second wave wouldn't come until the 80s. So it's like the fact this kind of came at the tail end, but still did decent. That's really good.
It was. I mean, can you imagine watching Halloween in 3D?
3D can be distracting sometimes. It depends what the movie. I don't know. I guess.
Does it have to depend on the storyline of the movie?
It'd have to be
make
numerous things. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just 3D on anything. I don't know if that'd work or not. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
But the
Halloween
mask
would be interesting.
The mask, you're already taking a mask and having it do something. So
yeah.
Why not just throw the 3D in there and just?
Well, I mean, that's what So that's what I don't get at with the movie. I'm not as big on this movie. I found it to be very slow. It wasn't bad. The storyline was pretty decent. For whatever reason, when I watched it, I wasn't nearly into it as much as I thought. However, when we get to that dream sequence, and it gets very fucking bizarre, and I'm guessing that's where a lot of the 3D was probably more focused on, was like that weird ass fucking dream sequence. It gets so surreal. That's what perked me up. Now I'm just like, oh shit! Like I was not expecting this psychedelic freak out midway through this movie because the whole time it's just very stuffy, very. Oh my god, the Aztecs believe this, and blah, blah. And then you get this dream sequence, and it's just like, holy shit, fuck, I'm in, I'm back in. But it wasn't enough, like, honestly, just the way the averages worked out when we were putting the list together, like, I would probably put Bloodlust above this film, for me personally. But, I don't know, The Mask, I get that the sequence is really cool. Like I said, the storyline ain't bad, but, I don't know, I had a hard time getting into it, I guess I should say.
I mean, IMDb give it a 5.8. So.
It does have a 5.8. I said it's middle of the road. That's kind of where I give it. I give it a middle of the road kind of, you know.
I definitely wouldn't put it at 6, but.
No, it does have a 67
I would have to
on Rotten Tomatoes, actually. It has 67%. Yeah. So, I mean, it's fresh.
I would put Bloodlust above it, though.
And like you said, 1.5 million. But yeah, like I said, but overall, I don't know. If anything else, just for the dream sequence, definitely check it out for that.
Yeah, definitely. And tell us, do you think it's better than Bloodlust?
Yeah. Let us know what your guys' at-home rankings are when we're going through these. So, we're going to go now to our number 8 film. Mr. Sardonicus. So we got this dude who he has been afflicted with this rare condition where his face is in like a permanent grin. And so he seeks out a doctor from London to come and use like these experimental procedures to, fix his face or whatever. This, of course, is written and directed by our boy William Castle. We'll be talking about William Castle for a while. He was the king in the late 50s, early 60s. Well, he wasn't the king. Clearly, that was Hitchcock. But this guy tried his damnedest to be the king.
If Hitchcock died...
He could have possibly... even then...
You don't think William still wouldn't have... No?
Probably not.
No, not even...
I enjoy some of his films,
what if Hitchcock dies before his great... No, he still has...
You got Roman Polanski on the horizon... Nah, Hammer's still doing great. Nah, because Terrence Fisher's still doing good.
He's like, no.
William Castle, he will always have my heart. He's a carny with his different gimmicks for his movies. And, dude, I appreciate that like none other. When you got a shit film that you got to sell, you got to push it. And that's what he does with his movies. So I will always kind of, but like I said, his movies are always hit or miss for me. So, anyways, yes, William Castle did the producing and writing of this thing and directed. But
the screenplay was actually based off another.
Yeah.
So that was cool too.
The gimmick here was the punishment pole.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about the punishment pole here. So when you get to the end of the movie, we find out that this was all psychosomatic. That it was all in his head. And so his grin was because he was guilty or felt guilty. But he's done bad shit. And so whenever the doctor informs the housekeeper that, the Baron has just mistreated the entire fucking movie, that, hey, you can let him know now that it's fine. It's just in his head or whatever. We get a pause in the movie where it's like, now it's time for the punishment pole. Should we tell him, the truth or not? And you were giving buttons in the theater at the time, the push. Now, this isn't a concept that's, it was new then, but later in the 80s, this became a popular thing, but more like at theme parks and stuff like that, not necessarily like real cinema, almost like a choose-your-own-adventure type thing. However, this movie never had an alternate ending. It was always meant to be the punishment. But that was the gimmick. So you're sitting there watching, you're like, oh, really? And you get your thing out, you hit it. This was 1961. They weren't changing rules for you to be like, which one did you pick? Let's tie up the vote. No. It was you hit the button and then like, well, let's see what you guys picked. And then it was going to be the same movie. So he was always meant to be punished and it ends on that, sour, dour note. But you don't feel too bad for the guy because it's like, he was a dick the whole fucking movie,
He could have definitely used a shot of vodka and a cigarette.
Oh, he definitely needs something to comment right there. I'll tell you now, I did like this movie. I thought it was better than most of William Castle stuff. But I don't know, it wasn't like it was pretty predictable. Yeah. I felt like it was kind of a paint by numbers, which is kind of weird, but it was. And so I don't know, I wasn't super huge on it, but at the same time, I just remember really enjoying. I like the guy who played the Baron. I thought he did really good. I like, dude, his look was creepy. When you see that fucking weird grin on his face, like that was some scary nightmare fuel right there. So I like that. And I love the ending. I think the ending was really good. But not necessarily with the punishment pole. I mean, that's kind of corny and cheesy. That should have been something that should have been left off the film and just done in the theaters individually. I feel like that should be the thing where all right, we're going to stop it right now and let you guys pick. But, they do put a little advert thing in the thing. But, yeah, I think, we put it at number 8, and I think it kind of belongs there. It's a top 10 movie for sure, but it's a lower top 10 movie.
It is.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was a good movie. the only thing I was wondering was, as you watch the movie, you're like what, what's the budget? Like, what are they using? Couldn't find anything on the budget. I thought maybe if it was a low budget film, because you look at it differently when it hits a certain point when there's so much money that's not being used to make a film. So I'm just kind of, I don't know if that, I guess that makes me an asshole that I category.
See, and that's why he'll never be bigger than Hitchcock.
Okay, so now I get your point.
Yeah,
I get
because
your point.
Hitchcock didn't have much money for Psycho, and dude turned out a masterpiece. This guy has no money, and he just turns out crap. So
it wasn't, he had, like, did he have the money to make it better? That was the thing. And
see, that's the thing. I don't know. It's hard to say because, again, a lot of his movies were always gimmick based. I look back at like House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah,
decent movie. I don't think it's nearly as good as people will say it is. To me, it was always kind of slow. It had great moments. And if you guys go back and listen to my, I think it was 1958, 1959, listen to my episode I give it its proper due. I think it definitely belongs, in the world of horror. It belongs in that pantheon of great films because it has, great Vincent Price.
Original?
Yeah, old black and white. So it has a great Vincent Price performance. Yeah. That jump scare with the old woman, it still ranks up there high. But watching the whole movie again, you're just kind of, I don't know. For me personally, I can't speak for everybody else, and this is where I was kind of talking earlier about the new generation. I want to give the old movies a chance. I do find myself bored watching William Castle. Like 13 Ghosts, we did that last year for the last episode. I felt the same way. It was like, there's a part of me that's just like, there's good in it, but I'd be lying if I was going to say I want to watch these movies over and over. No, I'd rather watch the remakes. I think the remakes on both films, House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts.
Oh, that remake of House
surpassed
on
them.
Haunted Hill.
So it's just like, I'd much rather, So I feel like William Castle, he's a good producer. I think he knows how to sell a movie. Direct, not so much. I don't think he's a good director. In fact, he would later go on to just go exclusively producing. When he did like Rosemary's Baby, he didn't direct that. That was Roman Polanski, and I think Castle knew he couldn't direct that.
Which Rosemary's Baby turned out to be a badass,
phenomenal. Movie. Yeah, it's awesome. And again, if that would have been a William Castle direction or picture, I don't think it would have been as good. I think if he would have directed that, it would have been dog shit.
Was that the 60?
Yeah, 68. I think 68. Yeah, I think you're right.
68.
I think you're right.
I had that on my TV and I started watching it. I thought maybe it was because they
did a remake of that as well, and I guess we'll get into that when we get into that movie. Yeah, they did a remake of that as well. It came out a little bit later or whatever, but
IMDb gave them a 6.6 rating.
All right.
I
mean, like I said, there's good in it. I guess I'm coming off kind of harsh on it, but it's like, I don't know. Again, 6.6 is still kind of a middle of the road kind of.
Yeah, but I don't think for the action that was in it, doesn't justify the 6.6.
Well, it got a lower rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It was a 40%.
See, that sounds more.
That
sounds more correct. I don't know, of course you have certain people that when they do these ratings are just like, oh man, that was just awesome, and they give it a high score.
Well, that's what's great about the Retro Horror Academy. It's like-minded people who have different opinions, and that's what makes this show great. All right, so we'll go on now to number 7. It is the...
some of these movies you may think are just absolute fucking shit.
Exactly, yeah. Believe me, I got some heat when I threw the Spanish language version of Dracula over the original Dracula in 1931. And I took that heat because I actually do like the Spanish version better. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, we'll get to the next movie. Number 7, The Shadow of the Cat. Now, in this movie, we have this old woman who is murdered. And her cat witnesses it. And so the rest of the movie now is her husband who hired, this hit to take place, and the housekeepers as well, who are all in on it. You get the housekeeper, the groundskeeper, and the husband, who carry out this plan to murder his wife to inherit her money. However, the cat saw it, and the cat is seeking revenge.
That cat.
That darn cat.
I don't know. I was so interested in the cat.
No, same. No, it stole the show. The cat stole the show.
And plus, I'm a big animal lover. So I was like, oh, poor kitty.
This movie was actually a Hammer film. Many people don't know that. So it didn't have the Hammer banner. It was uncredited, but a lot of the producers in the studio stepped in to fund this movie. So even though you didn't know it, it was a Hammer film. It would actually be double billed with The Curse of the Werewolf when it played in the drive-ins and everything. And apparently in an early draft of this, or maybe in the early stages, the cat was not going to be real. It was going to be in the minds, like a guilty conscience kind of thing, of the killers. But I guess when the new writer came in, he's like, no, the cat's got to be real. We're going to have the cat. Or maybe the director made the change. I can't remember. Either the director or the writer decided, hey, the cat's going to be a real part of this. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Was that they really could put like a mechanical cat?
I would say you'd probably have puppets, and I would say there'd be some crude kind of mechanics. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that would be. I can see why they use the real cat because I mean,
yeah, you can't. I mean,
you can't use
performance.
No,
can you imagine like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like Salem just moving around like that? You know, yeah, it'd be.
Or having a puppet on her hand.
That's some William Castle shit right there. So that's why we're not doing that. So, anyways, so what do you think about this movie? Give us your. I'll give you.
I like it because I'm an animal lover. So when I was like, nothing better happens to the damn cat.
Yeah.
Because I just am that way. IMDb gave it a 6.3 rating. I'd be okay with that.
For me, I love this movie. I would give it a higher rating. When we do this show, sometimes it's a lot of movies I have seen, and a lot of times I'm watching for the very first time for this podcast. And this was the case of that. I'd never seen The Shadow of the Cat before. Now, I didn't look at any research. I try to go into these blind all the time. So this is based on the title, is all I looked at. You came in a little late on this one. In the 40s, and even maybe in the 30s a little bit, I think mostly 40s and 50s, there was a big rash of Japanese films that all dealt with revenge and black cats.
Yeah.
It's a big cultural thing over there. And during a cycle of films, that's what we were dealing with these black cat Japanese films. I thought that's what this was. So whenever I pop it in, the fact that it has like this almost British aesthetic, I was like, oh, okay, this is. And I'm not me knocking it. It's just I've seen so many of these black cat Japanese films. They all run together. I couldn't tell you the difference between any of them because I've seen so many of them. It's just like they're all the same.
Yeah,
it's horrible to say. It sounds pseudo racist, but they all look alike. Anyways, but no, they do. They all are very similar. So when I saw this, I was like, all right, well, at least this is going to stand out. But then the storyline was just so great. I loved the idea that this cat witnesses a murder and just like, no, motherfucker, you killed my master. It's like some Splinter shit, Literally, it's like getting revenge. And the fact that I love that, because we bring in, was it her niece? Or was it a granddaughter? It wasn't a granddaughter. Yeah. It must have been her niece or something like that. But it was basically the next heir. Yeah. And the will, she changed the will, and the new will was going to say it was her. But the husband knew this. He's like, no. So he's trying to keep everything quiet, keep everything cool. Yeah. We got a cop investigating as well. And so what happens is they're trying to kill this cat. And the groundskeeper, they end up catching it. And the groundskeeper's like, take it out and kill it. So he takes it to the swamp. And it gets out before that. And he's chasing into the swamp. Yeah. And then the groundskeeper falls into like quicksand and fucking drowns. And now they're like, the cat did it. And they're like, don't be silly. So then the husband ends up bringing in like his brother-in-law or his brother or something, a cousin, the wife, maybe there's like another third guy. They're bringing in heavies to kill a cat. Yeah. And it's great because the cat, even though like either involuntarily or purposely, is knocking off these villains one by one, and it's a treat to watch. I will say this is one of those movies that I think people today would enjoy. I think honestly, we're talking about that younger generation, we bored these old movies. I think this is one of those that people would like because it's a cute cat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is a cat. And I just love like we see like the woman, the good one, the niece or whatever, the one who's going to inherit. Like the cat will run up to her and she'll pick it up, and it's like, nothing wrong with this cat. It's a normal cat. And then like the villains come up and like runs away. It's like, well, he didn't do that until you guys showed up. It's funny because the whole time it's just like they're clearly the bad guy. He's like,
The cat is definitely pointing the finger.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, no, I really dug this. You're right. IMDb gave a 6.3, but I would definitely go.
It only had like an 80,000 pound.
Yeah, I'd go much higher than that. I feel like that's definitely that definitely got kind of short stick on that one. But yeah, I think it's also funny too. Talking about animal lovers, that's like the one thing that people will revolt against is as soon as you kill an animal, even off screen, people will lose their shit. It's funny because one of my favorite movies of all time, we got Halloween. There's a scene where Michael Myers outside the glass and or outside the window and the dog's barking, send the dog out, and then it's outside and it's barking again, but then Michael Myers kills it or whatever. Yeah, and it's funny because people will be like, the movie's great except for that one scene. So it's a one thing, and it's just like it's funny to me.
I went and watched Homeward Bound in theaters in the 90s, and
hey,
I tell you what, man, I cried so hard.
I will still,
even though Shadow showed up.
Yeah. Oh no. Even now, I will get that lump in my throat watching, knowing he's fine. Like,
he's fine.
Yeah. And I'll do it for part 2 when they do the same bullshit with Chance.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, guys, you're gonna play the same card 2 movies in a row? They do. But guess what? I will watch. And the weird thing was, I didn't get that emotional as a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't really care. I think I was just like, oh, that sucks. Hope he's okay. Oh, he's fine. Good. Move on. As an adult, I don't know why I've gotten more sensitive on weird things, and that's one of them. Is just not necessarily Michael Myers. Michael Myers killed 30 dogs in a row, and I'll be like, whatever. But for some reason, Shadow, because he had personality, and when it's just like, and when the kid's just like, where's Shadow? I'm like, oh God, hold it together, Daniel. It's okay.
I remember what he said. He said he was just too old.
Just too old, and it's just like, son of a bitch.
I can't remember. I just
gets me.
That's what I was thinking was if they do something to this fucking cat, I'm turning it off.
Revolting.
No.
That cat dies, we ride.
That cat dies, I'm done with this.
That's it. All right, so now moving on now to number 6. We are talking about The Hands of Orlac. So basically, there's an accident, and this pianist gets his hands damaged. And so they do emergency surgery, gets taken care of. However, these hands belong to a killer. Will that affect him? And he's starting to think, maybe it will. So this thing was a UK-French co-production. I can hear your hounds of hell in the background just letting loose.
Hey,
they gather themselves another victim.
They did.
Or they watched Halloween and they're pissed off. It's one of the two.
No.
Or maybe they're upset by watching Homeward Bound. I don't know. But, though anyways.
Who's got the remote? That's what I'm wondering.
So, like I said, UK-French co-production here. This thing has, I'm going to butcher this dude's last name, Mel Ferrer and Christopher Lee, which we all love Christopher Lee here on the show. This is actually a remake of 2 different films. It's a remake of the 1929 silent film and the 1935 talkie Mad Love.
I tried to say I tried to pronounce the 1920 silent film.
Mm-hmm.
But
and then
it's just so cool that these movies have like the background history.
Oh yeah, no,
to build this movie, this movie, it goes all the way back to 1920.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is actually based on a book as well. So
yes.
it's yeah. So it's definitely has a good foundation to it. The one interesting fact I found out about this when I was researching was this thing they actually shot scenes twice. Because Christopher Lee and Mel were say that name for me. Is it Mel Ferrer? Am I just really butchering this thing right now? Oh my gosh!
Do you really want me to say
Mel Ferrer?
It ain't Fear.
Am I saying it right? You think?
Mel Ferrer.
Ferrer. Okay. Yeah. Ferrer.
Like Daniel just dropped his whiskey.
That's it. Show's done. I'm walking off set. But they can both speak French fluently. Yeah. So what they did was they actually shot every scene that had them talking twice. They did it in English and in French. And then when they released the thing out there, that way they didn't have to pay dubbing actors and like that. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
You know
Christopher
how much
Lee
work that has to be.
Oh yeah, but again, when you're an actor the caliber of like Christopher Lee, and I throw Mel Fleur in there because I recognize the name. I've seen him do other Hammer stuff, so I do like him as well. But Christopher Lee, it's like he's a fucking pro.
Yeah.
Anyways, so with this movie,
Neuro, was that his?
What's that?
Is that Neuro?
Neuro.
Is that
Nero?
Nero? Is that what his name was in the movie?
I think so. Yeah.
Nero.
Yeah, Nero. Brother Nero.
Brother Nero.
So with this, I'm a big fan of this movie. I like the original too. We've covered them both on this channel. In fact, Mad Love is still probably. I think out of these three, Mad Love's still my favorite. In fact, if you guys have been watching after we cover our decade, I always do a video where I cut together like my top 10 up until that point. Yeah. And Mad Love has been the last 2 decades. Like I've just been big, or 3 decades actually. I've just been a big fan each time it comes around. It's hard to knock that off. But I think this did a really good job. I think this is better than the silent version. Christopher Lee, I love seeing it. I wish he had more screen time. I hate that he's I love that he's a villain, but sort of like this, I wanted him to be like the main focus. But he does great, and I like the route they take here because in the previous movies, well, I guess not Mad Love either. Mad Love kind of took this route too. But in the first one, it was like, the hands will possess you. But here, he thinks when he finds out that he has the hands of a murderer that he's doing these horrible things, and he's not. But Christopher Lee's going to make him think.
He's thinking
you're doing it.
You're doing it.
I love the scene where before they get Christopher Lee at the end, he fucks his girlfriend up and puts her in, or it was his girlfriend, I guess his love interest. He's banging his assistant or whatever you want to call her. His squeeze. Either way, but he gets her in that Iron Maiden, and it wasn't the Iron Maiden. It was a trap thing, but he's put the knife or swords through it, and the bag is supposed to be gimmicked where she can get out the bag, but he's so fucking psycho that he locks her in there, and then dude. Even though she did her part and did some bad stuff, you still feel bad for her because you're like, she liked the main guy. You can tell she had a good heart, but unfortunately she was kind of caught up with Christopher Lee. And unfortunately though, in movies, even if you do something slightly bad, especially in this time era, you got to pay the price. And so, but that scene, honestly, when that happened, I was like, holy shit, like I was not expecting that. And so when he's fucking running those swords through her, I was like, God damn.
That scene right there can definitely be put into a category of top scenes of things that.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, if you think about it, you're
very powerful.
You're in there and you're like, okay, I'm going to get out.
Yep.
I'm just going to go out the back.
I'm not saying they got it from this, but I remember there was one of the seasons of American Horror Story where they did the freak show. I think it was season 4. There's a scene where the girl gets into the box and they saw the lady in half, and when she goes to get in, they're just practicing or whatever, but they don't put the second person in there. And so she's in there, and then the guy literally locks her in there and then like saws her right in the fucking half. And it was like, oh my, and just the idea, I don't know, magic gone wrong, What'd you think about this movie?
That makes it a scary
point absolutely, too. Yeah.
Because, you're not going to be able to go anywhere or do anything. Nowhere. So you're going to actually just have to sit there.
I mean, I don't know.
I can't remember how many he put in.
The sword, I was like, with that alone, it's just like you're seeing him come up with the swords and pushing them through one at a time. It's like, fuck,
This movie had one of the coolest blunders.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's hear
it. So for the budget, the original write-in for the budget was that they had $10 million budget for this movie.
Jesus. Wow. That's in 1961, right?
1961, and everybody was freaking out because it came from, the person that tells them what the budget is.
Yeah.
It came from them. But, the budget was actually just $105,000.
There you go.
So
it makes a little more sense right there.
That makes a lot more sense. It also gets a 5.6 rating. I would be comfortable with putting it in the 6s and the high 6s.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think the 5.6 that I am
a little low.
That don't give it good justice because the fact that when that he is struggling so hard and the hands are like a godsend.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, but am I actually doing these things with my hands? Like, am I going to have to pick?
Yeah. No, the story's solid.
It is a solid story.
It touches on themes of morality and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely
that knife ending. I mean, man, it's like squeezing a tomato, and the tomato's looking at you, going, "No, don't," and you're just continuing squeezing it between your fingers as your blood and everything just comes out.
Now let me ask you this. Now, two separate films, clearly, two separate types of movies, but we covered Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde last year.
Yes.
I keep saying last year. I meant last episode, but 1960, which also had Christopher Lee in a side role as well.
He also played a bad guy.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you that. Did you get Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde vibes from this movie when you was watching it? Even though they're not even close. I don't know. For some reason, when I was watching it, I just kept thinking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I just kept thinking this is so much like that last movie we watched.
Well, now every time I see him, I just imagine him with two faces.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
So it's like ever since the Dr. Jekyll, it was like, damn. Now it's just it's in it's put into my mind. It's like I can't unsee it, but that would have been if he would have pulled that out at the end after putting the swords in, like transforming that. Could you imagine?
Oh no,
that would be. I would have
would have took a left turn right there for sure.
I would have took a big left turn, but you're like, son of a bitch, he is crazy. But hey, it was a good movie. I would definitely, but that 5.6 does not give it justice. Whoever watches this, I actually recommend go watch that movie.
Absolutely.
If you're a horror fan and you enjoy them kind of these kinds of movies, that right there needs to be on your list to watch. Well Don't watch anything about it. Don't look up anything.
Oh yeah. Go into it blind.
Go into it blind because I went into it blind because half these movies, 90% of these movies, unless it was a real famous movie, I haven't seen. So when I first see it, it's like when I seen the knife scene, I was like, man, I didn't expect it.
I would also say, though, I'm curious what people would think, because have you ever seen Mad Love, the 1935 version of this? No. I'm also curious what people would think when you compare it to. The actor from The Beast of Five Fingers I was talking about earlier, I couldn't think of the name. He's the guy in Mad Love. And I was about to look it up and it hit me. Peter Lorre is the actor I was trying to think of. Peter Lorre, who's fucking brilliant. He plays the villainous doctor in Mad Love. Okay. And plays it very psychotically. So, I don't know. So I would recommend, take Tyler's advice, watch The Hands of Orlac, but then go back and also watch Mad Love and compare the two and see which one you like better. Curious to see what people's thoughts are on that.
Hands of Orlac could have easily made the top 5. We'll
get to that. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. I like the.
It's good.
I like the indifference.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on now to we got Dr. Blood's Coffin.
Dr. Blood.
So we got a small village. I believe we're over in the UK again. Where the fact that I wrote down British film means so we're in the UK. It's a small British village, and people are dying, their bodies are disappearing, whatever. All the experiments are going on, and trying to figure out what's happening here. And we got this young doctor showing up who's going to try to sort this out as well. As I mentioned, this is a British film. Stars my girl Hazel Court. This was actually one of the first of 2 zombie movies to be made in color. Now we're using zombie in the term of a resurrected dead. Yeah. So again, we're not talking flesh zombies yet, or flesh eating zombies. We're also not talking voodoo either. This is kind of that Frankenstein realm of technically it's a zombie because it's a dead body reanimated. So this is one of the first 2 to actually be in color, with the other one being The Dead One, which was a very low budget movie that didn't even crack our radar. I didn't even know about this movie, but it came out the same year. This is actually shot back to back with The Snake Woman, and they use a lot of the same cast and crew to make The Snake Woman, and then they released both Dr. Blood's Coffin and The Snake Woman together in a double feature. So the producers, again, saving money by keeping everybody tight knit and then releasing them together. Go ahead and lead on this one. What did you think about this movie, and what are your thoughts on it?
For what budget they had, what was it, $25,000 euros.
Oh, it's definitely a low budget. Yeah.
Low budget. They, did what they could.
You know,
And it gives an IMDb gives it a 4.9. I don't.
That's kind of low.
That's kind of shitty.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I would still even this movie. I would still even put in the low sixes.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of people are watching. I don't know how long ago these stats have been updated.
But here's what I have noticed. I'll give you this. I think a lot of it is even people who watch at the time. Because when I was speed running through the 30s and 40s, I was getting fatigue of watching mad science movies. Because every fucking movie was the same thing. I'm a mad scientist who I want to do something for good, but I'm going to do this crazy experiment that is going to borderline bad. I'm going to create a monster, and then that monster's going to go crazy. And while that worked in like Frankenstein and other films, at a certain point you're like, guys, do something else.
Yeah.
And I think because this kind of falls into that same category, it does kind of get into just we've seen it before. It's very repetitive.
Yeah.
And I feel like either you're watching this outside of that bubble, and it is just like, okay, I've seen it before. Yeah. Or you were there at the time when it came out, and you're like, yeah, I've seen this movie before too. Shit, like this is supposed to be new, and it's already something like that. I think that's a lot of it. No one's looking at this just as a standalone. Let's just look at this movie without trying to take everything else into account. Now, that's hard to do sometimes. I'm guilty of that. I know I even said on the show one time, I am sick of mad science movies because I was fucking sick of mad science movies. It's like all we were doing at some point. But it's been a nice little drop in that lately, so I'm okay with, the Dr. Blood's coughing here.
I think the one thing like the director has to do is, you got to take what you can get, but you got to have spots that stand out that will help the film rise. So if you can do that when a low budget film and you can make it stand out, turns out it could be from a low budget to a high making film.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can always
you just got to have the creativity and the imagination to. Okay, it's like shit. We've only got 25,000 pounds. Or,
exactly.
Euros.
Well, and that's the thing. If you can you can raise the project above its budget. Again, I'll always go back to Psycho. The dude was up against the wall with barely any money and still made. We're at hit yet, but Night Living Dead, George Romero, extremely low budget. Guess what? He made it work. So I mean, I will never really look at the budget as the end all be all. Because it's like, no, you can make great things with no money. Yeah. It's just, are you talented enough to do so?
That Psycho budget from the budget to the turnaround of how much income that it made is one of the for me after doing all this. It's one of the most impressive things I've seen.
Absolutely. I mean, you always love hearing stories like that too. Especially after all the shit he was going through. Yeah. It's just like, even though he's Alfred Hitchcock, and it's like he was already kind of the king at that point anyways, and established, people love to see a star fall. And they like to see kings crumble, and he was on his way down, and he revived himself with Psycho, and he's like,
Psycho is definitely his saving grace.
Well, absolutely. It brought him right back into prominence, and
put him right back where he needed.
Exactly. For me personally, I really like this movie. I thought it was slow starting off, but for some reason, even though I was watching thinking it was slow, I was never bored with it. I don't know, the story was pretty intriguing to me. Yeah. And again, I went into this blind. I had no idea anything. So I do love that the main character's name is actually Blood, because whenever you hear the title, Dr. Blood's Coffin, I'm just like, that seems cheesy. Like, what kind of bad knockoff Batman villains is this? I'm Dr. Blood. And it's like, no, his name's actually like Robert Blood or something like that. So I'm like, all right, we'll let it slide, I guess. But no, so the story I thought was pretty interesting. What I dug is when he finally revealed, and I thought this, I mean, not to sound whatever, I guess because if I put myself in the mind of watching it in 1961 or whatever, it's a pretty shocking revelation when he brings her husband back from the dead. And I'm just like, what? I was not expecting that. I knew he had a body down there. I knew, he was going to get somebody. Of course, even if that first experiment kind of goes wrong, he's like, you don't get another body. I did not expect him to dig up her dead husband just to kind of prove a dickish point. And when that scene happens and it's like your husband, I was like, no. And I was like, oh, shit.
Is their mouth full of dirt?
Probably.
I couldn't tell, but it just, like...
But I feel like this kind of is the same thing we talked about with, Hansa Orlac and Mr. Sardonicus, where it's like one scene seems to kind of save the whole movie for me.
It does.
And I feel like that was the one scene for me that really put this higher. And I was like, shit, because I kind of want to see it again at some point. Knowing ahead of time, like, how crazy it's going to go. And again, like, I didn't know, like, the way the son plays it, you're thinking, like, he's good going crazy, like every other mad science in the history of cinema. But it's almost like he has an undercurrent of sadisticness to him. Like, it's almost like, I don't know, he's trying to delude himself. Like, I do feel like all the mad scientists that came before him, Frankenstein and whatnot, even when they have driven to that point of madness, there's still a part of them that thinks they're doing good. I don't think he thinks he's doing good. I think he knows he's doing wrong, but he's going to tell you he's doing good to justify it. And I think that's even more dangerous because it's like, dude, you know you're doing evil and you're still doing evil. Yeah, at least these other guys think they're kind of doing good. Like, even when they get to that point where, like, okay, you get to clearly the villain now, in their minds, you can still justify, like, well, they know there's good that can come from this. Yeah. But they have to go to the extreme to get that. Whereas this motherfucker, I don't think was doing that. I think this motherfucker was just like, no, I'm an asshole, and I'm going to do this regardless. So anyways, I like this movie. Again, I think 4.9 is a bit low.
That's such a decent rating.
I'd give it a high 6, maybe even a low 7, possibly. Like I said, I just remember being shocked. Because again, and I don't watch these always in the best state of mind. Usually it's late night, kids asleep, angels fall asleep, so I'm just sitting in bed watching this, whatever. And I do remember I was actually pretty awake for this, but I remember just kind of thinking like, oh, this is just a standard whatever movie, whatever, probably won't rank high. And then I get that last scene, I was like, holy shit, like, oh fuck, like I was not expecting. So yeah,
again, another movie with that last scene.
Yeah, I mean it helps, it really does.
It's like you stick it out there.
So moving right along now, number 4, Homicidal. So basically, in this movie, we get he's a justice of peace, and we're in a small little California town, and this dude gets straight up brutally just murdered, and that's where we kind of start this thing off right here. Again, produced and directed by William Castle. So this movie, they did this thing where it's called the Fright Break, where the movie was so scary. They'd stop it. I can't remember exactly where he stopped it. I don't know if it was toward the end or middle or whatever. But they would be like, if you can't take it, you can leave. But they had this, and I don't know if this is every theater or just certain ones in LA, but in New York, but they would have basically this like cardboard thing set up, little booth, that was like the coward's corner. All yellow lights and shit. And they'd have like a little yellow carpet leading to it. And you had to walk, the movie would be stopped. Like it wasn't like the other one, the punishment pole, where the movie's still playing. Movie. No, his gimmick here was they would stop the movie. House lights up. Who's too scared? And of course, his movies were never scary, with Castle. So who's too scared? Yeah. And if you were too scared, you had to walk up to the coward's corner, sit down in front of everybody, and tell them this movie's too scary. And that was the gimmick for this one, the Fright Break, which is just like, there you go.
Do you think that could fly these days?
What's that?
If they were to make a movie, take a flight.
So I was thinking about that, is we kind of live, I don't know, there's a certain fun of these gimmicks that's no longer here. Yeah. And I would think you could, but it'd be more of a money thing, I think. It has to be something that's cheaply done. Yeah. Because, we were talking about, did you do Tingler with me, or was that... Did we do Tingler on 60, or was that 59?
We did on 60.
Okay, 60. Yeah. So they had the little buzzards in the seats. Yeah. Some of them had motors that would... It's like brilliant, but it's like, could you imagine rigging up 1,800 theaters nationwide to do something like that? Even if you just did 1 or 2 motors, that's still, you got to get people out to do that. So I feel like, I don't know.
You'd have to invite people. You would... Essentially, you have to invite people you know would not want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't invite your friends because they're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to leave halfway through.
And I think I even remember reading that they even had plants in certain theaters who would go ahead and be like, I'm too scared, but they were paid actors or whatever. It's the same like they'd have like in some of his earlier movies he would have everybody take two. He would have everybody sign a waiver that if you die of fright during this movie,
you can't sue.
Can't sue us. And they had like a fake lawyer there, but he was all, usually either they were usually hired by the studio or they were just like out of work actors that just need a gig, or they were just employees at the theater. It's like, yeah, I'll be the lawyer.
Before skits were skits.
Honestly, I do kind of miss that. I kind of wish that somebody would bring something like that back. That'd be really cool. And they do that to a certain degree. Now, not anywhere near here. That's what I hate about living in southern Indiana. We don't get shit in our area. But in your bigger cities,
Dollar Generals.
You'll get you do get some Dollar Generals. But in your bigger cities, I'll see things like I'm gonna make up a movie. This may not even be the right thing, but like with like The Conjuring. They would have like mini haunted houses they'd build in front of the theaters, and then they'd have and not just like a haunted house, but they'd have like display stuff that you can go through before you can watch the movie. And I'm like, that's cool. I would love that kind of stuff.
Sets you up.
It absolutely gets you in the mood,
Yeah.
And so I feel like with these gimmicks, it'd be the same thing. I really wish they would kind of bring them back for that thing, but I just feel like unless it was the chain themselves doing it, like if AMC was like, we'll do it, you may not get it with like the Premier Theater. Which that's a local theater for anybody out there. Or I guess they're UEC. They're not completely local. There's like 10 of them nationwide. But anyways, AMC is like the mainstream one. So I don't know. I think it could work.
Was it?
So Joan Marshall, she was an actress before this, but they tried to act like she was. This is her first movie under the name Jean Arliss. And of course, she actually auditioned. She disguised herself as a man. Because they were initially going to cast the character as male and female, even though it's the same person. They were going to have a guy do the guy part and the girl do the girl part, even though it's a girl supposed to be in drag. But she came in dressed up as a guy, and they loved the performance so much. They're like, you know what? Fuck it, you'll do both of them, yeah. And so that was that whole thing right there. So with this movie, I know I was talking shit earlier about William Castle, and I mean, like I said, when he hits, he hits. I think Homicidal is a really good movie, but I'm curious, were people honestly shocked that was a girl dressed as a man the whole time? Because when you see the guy, it's clearly a chick. Like, right out the gate, I'm like, no. And it's funny because everybody's voice is normal because, sound equipment, normal. But they dub the guy because clearly that girl is not going to have that deep voice. And it would have even been more obvious. So the fact that you had like this random like European, hello, kind of signing voice, I'm just like, really? And so as I'm watching this movie, I'm just like, it's a good story. I'm not debating that. I like the idea. But visually, there was no surprise. As soon as the movie starts going on, I'm like, yeah, she's playing both. She's going to be both. You never see the brother and sister together. She's both. And it's just like, I don't know. I remember just sitting there thinking like, this is so asinine. And it's like, I get the characters got to be stupid, but I'm like, was this meant to fool us or was we supposed to be in on the joke? Because I thought we were supposed to be in on the joke. We would see her do the transformation early and it wouldn't be a reveal. Yeah. Oh, it's a woman the whole time. I don't know. It seemed weird to me. Is all I'm saying.
I didn't know.
So you didn't know. So you honestly was okay. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, okay. So
this is the first that I'm hearing.
Yeah. So when the big reveal comes up, yeah. So as I'm watching it, I'm just like, yeah, I could tell.
You could tell.
I could tell.
Okay,
Like it was
I couldn't tell.
Yeah. So I said.
So it's that. I mean, which is a good ploy because
I am curious if anybody out there, if you've made it to the hour 40-something minute mark that you're at right now, hey, we love you to fucking death. Seriously, I'll give you a handy after the show. But no, if you've seen this movie, let us know. Like, did you know that was the same person? And I don't without IMDb obviously or looking ahead. I mean, but watching it blindly like I did, did you or like we did? Like Tyler, he didn't know. I did know. But what you guys? I mean, we may be on the different ends of the spectrum here. We don't know.
I just didn't know.
I didn't know. So anyway, like I said, I like this movie. I thought honestly I thought the opening was really solid, and honestly, this is gonna be high praise. I honestly would not throw this at him, but it was almost Hitchcock-esque, the opening, because you get this scene of the girl who is she's asking this random bellhop, hey, can you marry me?
Yeah.
Just now. It has to be done tonight. And we'll get it annulled tomorrow. You'll get paid or whatever. And you can't help but be intrigued. You're like, okay, where's this guy? Like, I'm curious. Like, I'm now in. Like, not even 3 minutes of this movie, and you hooked me. So it's like, okay, I was on board. And then when they go to that, they get married, and she pulls a knife out and just fucking kills the guy who's, he's the justice.
She doesn't even wait. She didn't
hesitate. And I was like, holy shit. So again,
no.
Hooked.
Yeah.
And so the storyline is, and honestly, I will say this. I probably ain't the first one to say this. I'm sure I've probably read other people say this. This is probably as close to Hitchcock that William Castle ever came. As far as like filmmaking, story-wise, like this is probably it right here. Well, and it was good. I mean, this deserves its number 4 spot in my opinion. I thought this was very solid. I said, aside from the weird transgender whatever cross-dressing thing, that was just not that shocking because I already knew fucking ahead of time. But storyline-wise, I thought this was really good. How she just had that weird hatred for that one girl. Oh, I forget her name already, but she left. She gave that as a fake name, and they go back and they're like, hey, this woman killed the Justice of the Peace, and they gave him your name. What's that about? It's like, I don't know. I thought that was funny how she just had like this random hatred for this woman.
Rotten Tomato gives it a 73%.
Really? Yep. That's all I got here. That's solid. That's fresh.
Solid,
that's fresh.
IMDb gives it a 6.8.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd go higher.
Yeah, I'd go high 6, low 7 probably.
Yeah, low 7. I definitely would go low 7s. Did not get a budget on this, but they grossed $1.6 million.
Again, with it being William Castle, I couldn't imagine it being much. But thinking that's what he was good at. He was like Roger Corman. He could take no money.
It was obviously not.
And we were joking earlier about his ability as a filmmaker, but as a producer, he fucking excelled. Yeah. So I would assume this is probably $200,000, $300,000 possibly.
I would say bottom dollar $300,000,
and maybe even less, honestly, because again, there wasn't like special effects or anything.
I guess, max dollar.
Like I said, I don't know, but I'm sure.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he did it with $150,000.
No, honestly, I mean, seriously, dead serious. So that's exactly
that. Which would that's a hell of a turnaround for. So
what did you think about the movie?
I thought it was a good movie, and I thought it was better than what it's being rated.
What was the one we did before? Oh, Sardonicus. Yeah, I thought it was better than Mr. Sardonicus.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely better than that.
Now we'll go the 13 Ghosts. Would you put it above 13 Ghosts?
Huh?
Would you put it above 13 Ghosts?
No.
Would you not?
No.
See, I think I would actually, honestly. I think I would. Yeah.
So what gives it that 13 Ghosts didn't have?
The 13 Ghosts I thought was too cheesy. It was
almost like he was knew that going in.
Yes, but I feel like that's the thing. It was still very winking at the camera. And this one, like I said, it's almost like he was trying to make a legit, like, serious movie. Like, it's almost like those other movies were made based around their gimmick of the 3D glasses or whatever. Yeah. With this one, it's almost like they had to add a gimmick because the gimmick didn't really fit the Coward's Corner. That doesn't fit anything. I could have been on any of his movies. It wasn't just specifically for this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like this is the one time where he actually made like a legit, like, I'm making an actual thriller in the vein of Hitchcock.
Balls in the wall.
And it showed. I mean, again, I think this is one of the few cases where it's like, so for me, like I said, that you heard me last time. I didn't hate 13 Ghosts. I enjoy 13 Ghosts. But if I had to rank the movies, I'm putting Homicidal above 13 Ghosts for sure.
I'm just gonna give the edge to 13 Ghosts. Just a little edge.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's far. I'm not going to say that
eclipses it.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's nothing like that. Like it's
Goldberg versus Gilbert. Just spear jackhammer.
Hey, you know what? Brett screwed Brett.
So Brett screwed Brett.
What's a different subject?
But
I would. But I'm telling you, but the homicidal. This movie,
Yeah.
for William Castle, is his absolute strongest.
I think from a directing standpoint, it's his best.
Yeah.
Producing, probably not. I probably have to give that to probably the Tingler, because that's just such a ridiculous concept, but he made it work and made a ton of money on it. So it's like,
and obviously, it's one of those things. Like he probably thought, man, I got $100,000. I'm just gonna.
oh yeah,
I'm just gonna put some shit together.
And it worked.
And he did, and it worked. Yeah, and it's but it doesn't overshadow any.
Yeah.
I don't think it goes any higher than the ceiling that it's at.
So you think right now it's ranked where it needs to be?
It's perfect.
That's fair.
It's perfect where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ones above it are pretty.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Pretty tough.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to our number 3 film. And this movie is the recipient of our Bronze Skull Award. I am, of course, talking about The Curse of the Werewolf.
And I love the movie art.
Oh, dude.
This movie art right here.
Poster art is a dead art form that needs to be brought back.
It
I
definitely needs to be.
highly agree with that.
I had my AI, and I told her, I said, give me the 60s feel when you put my art together. And that right there, like, if you were to put that on a poster outside a big New York movie theater,
yeah.
that right there would grab
I do
so
love
much
that.
attention.
Yeah, the 50s and 60s, the kind of artwork they had, the actual hand-painted
It's the
stuff.
sketches feeling. That's what it is. It's the sketching feeling.
So the basic plot here is this young boy becomes adopted. He turns into a werewolf, and he goes on a bit of a kill happy spree there. So this is British horror. This is also Hammer. This was directed by Terence Fisher. Stars Oliver Reed. This is actually the first werewolf film to ever be shot in Technicolor.
Yep.
This was initially supposed to be set in Paris, but there was another movie that they shot that was supposed to be set in Spain called The Rape of Sabina. Anyways, it fell through. They didn't actually shoot it, and they're like, well, we're not going to let those Spain sets go to waste, so now your movie's taking place in Spain, so forget the Paris, you're going to Spain. As I mentioned earlier, this was actually a double feature on the drive-in circuit with The Shadow of the Cat. So apparently, this is actually a myth. When I was looking this up, and I'm gonna warn you right now, I had like no notes for the previous films. I got a shit ton of notes for these last 3 films, so we're gonna fill up some time here. Apparently, though, the myth of being born on Christmas and that starting a curse and kind of making you evil or whatever is a real thing in Europe. They feel that because you're being born on the day of the Savior, that is a blasphemous spit in the face of God. Like, you should not be born on Christmas. That's His day, not yours. Because in the movie, they even say, well, shouldn't that be a good thing? Like, you're born on the day of Jesus. And they're like, oh, no, we don't believe that here. They don't go into why. And I had to look it up, and that's why. It's like, no, they feel like that's, you don't do that at all.
That's to them, that's a sacred day of, you don't
mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
It's theirs.
But, in America, we don't.
My
grandpa was born, my grandpa was a Christmas baby. So,
was he? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he was December 25th. So
no curses?
No curses.
There you go. All right.
He was a great man.
Apparently, in the original script, it was supposed to be the beggar who was going to be the werewolf. And you can even see at one point when he's in the prison cell that he does have a lot of fur or whatever on the thing. But here's the weird note that the Hammer executives handed down. We can't have, because he ends up raping that woman that gives goes in there and starting her.
Yeah.
They said, and this is the exact quote, they have an issue with a werewolf rapist. Let that sink in for a second, guys. Hammer Studios says no to a werewolf rapist. Now, we'll have a werewolf.
Yeah.
And we'll have a rape scene with a rapist.
But we're not.
But God damn it.
We're not having.
Don't combine them. That's just too far right there. This makes me want to make a werewolf rapist movie. That may be TPS's next movie right there. The werewolf
Do you think
rapist.
it's because the werewolf was starting to come in as being...
No. Here's what I think the reason is. Even though he wasn't in werewolf form doing it, there's a French movie that comes out in the 70s called Le Beast. or just The Beast. It has a hardcore sex scene in it. In fact, if you go to, or so I'm told, you go to pornography sites, this will come up from time to time. But it was a legit movie that was released in cinemas, but it does have full-on penetration. Now, the penetration is from a werewolf raping this woman in the garden, right? And I think it's going to fall because the UK censors were very weird about this shit anyway. Because we're not in the video nasty era yet, which would be in the 80s, but that was the time when they were like banning all kinds of movies for very little. It was just more like, even if it doesn't have a reputation for being evil, they're like, nope, cut that shit out right now. And so UK and their censorship was really weird. So the fact that they were like, no werewolf rapists, I think it was more a hint of like bestiality maybe, and they're just like, that's hinting at bestiality, no, not doing it. And that's probably what it was more than anything else.
Wasn't it Werewolf in London where he raped her out in the middle of the garden on the stone statue?
You're thinking of Dracula. Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. Werewolf of London, Werewolf of London's a different movie, Henry Hall. That's 1930 whatever. No rape.
No rape. Okay.
American Werewolf in London has sex in it, but no rape.
No rape. Okay.
But yeah. But,
willing sex.
But Dracula, and it wasn't rape as... Not trying to defend Bill Cosby here, guys. It wasn't rape as much as it probably was more like he had her on mind control, which I guess that's still kind of rape, I guess. But yeah, he takes her right there. But he's in his wolf form instead of like the vampire form or whatever. They actually, so Oliver Reed, he actually enjoyed, he would be in full werewolf makeup. And as a gag, he would just drive home in it, just so he could see the expression on people's faces as he's driving. Like, he just drive a car, just, in full werewolf outfit. I'll read you the fucking man.
Wouldn't that just scare the shit if you pull it up?
I think it'd be a mix of both. I think back then it would scare the shit out of you. I think today you just be like, oh, what the, and you just start laughing because it'd be like, that's like, because I work in traffic control. That's my job. Halloween time, you see people in outfits driving by all the time. I had a Michael Myers 2-3 weeks back drive by, and I was like, oh, he just broke out of the sanitarium. Bye, Michael, and he went right by. So I'm sure back then, 1961, people were freaking no shit, but I think today, it'd be hilarious. They would actually reuse some of the same sets they used in House of Dracula, which that was common use. You're Hammer, you got the sets, might as well reuse what you can, you know.
Yeah.
So the woman who wound up being raped is an actress named Yvonne Romaine. You see on the poster we were talking about earlier that it's the werewolf holding her. The thing is, she gives birth to the werewolf and then dies afterwards. That would never even happen in the movie. It's impossible. Now again, this is from Hammer Studios, who just said no to a werewolf rapist. They said, yeah, but we get a hot chick being held by the werewolf. That'll sell some tickets. Put it on the poster. And that's literally why that poster is like that. And I'm like, you know what? Kudos, guys, because I would do the same fucking thing right there. I guess there's even some stills where it's a little bit more risque. You see some cleavage with Yvonne and being held by the werewolf as well. And same thing, there's like, yeah, that kind of bestiality is okay, but just don't imply there's a rape. That's that's where we're going to go.
Werewolf rapist? No.
I'll let you take the lead on this one. What did you think about The Curse of the Werewolf?
I liked it. IMDb gave it a 6.5. I would give it higher.
Oh, I definitely give it higher.
Yeah,
that is a damn good movie.
I would give it the higher upper 7s, even the lower 8s.
I thought it 8, yeah. I think honestly, because I always, after I watch the movies, like TPS Productions has their own IMDb page. So every time we watch a movie, I always rate it on there. And I gave it an 8. I was like, this is definitely an 8 film for sure.
Once again, it's one of those movies where they're going to take $100,000 and make a movie. Mm-hmm. And, they turned it into roughly between $400,000 and $1 million, which is
damn. So even on the lowest scale of that, it's still 4 times your budget, and then beyond that, you're still hitting a milli. So
which that justifies why we should give it a higher ranking.
Well, not as that, but it's also Hammer. Like Hammer knows horror. Yeah. Like I've yet to see too many bad Hammer movies.
And it was a badass werewolf.
Dude, the werewolf was awesome. Oliver Reed did a great job. The effects were really good and everything else. No, absolutely.
So I would, definitely watch it again.
Oh yeah, same.
Without going, oh no.
I'll say right now, I don't think this is really a hot take because I think a lot of people actually do feel this way. People who've seen both. I prefer Hammer monster movies over Universal monster movies. I think the Universal monster movies has a better aesthetic for the most part. I think they have more of that gothic atmosphere.
Yeah.
But Hammer has that too. And it's in living color, and it just, I don't know. But as far as watching them, like, I would much rather watch The Curse of the Werewolf over The Wolfman. I think it's a better movie. I think, honestly, I've seen The Wolfman too many times where I'm just like, but this is just a fresh fucking story. I'll tell you what was funny about this movie, though, was I didn't know when the movie is going to begin. Because when it starts, it's this beggar that shows up at this, rich baron's house, and he's just, and he's toying with him, and just humiliate. So I was like, okay, so the beggar's going to be the main character here. And then he gets put in prison. And then we focus on the guy who's feeding him, and he has his deaf, mute daughter. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's going to be a story about how, he befriends this little girl or whatever, and that's going to be, they're the main characters.
Yeah.
And then the dad dies, and the little girl grows up with some huge kazongas, and she becomes the primary feeder. And I was like, oh, so it's her movie. Okay, we're focused on her. And then she ends up getting raped by this guy, killing the Baron, fleeing. I was like, oh, we're on the run. Okay, so the movie's about her on the run now. And then she gives birth and dies. And I was like, what's going on here? So that's a little boy. And the little boy, and then of course, he's got the curse or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, so the movie's about the little boy. And the little boy grows up and moves away. And I was like, when are we starting this movie? We have had like 20 starts already. So, like, the movie don't officially begin, until Oliver Reed's grown up and he's actually, But I don't know. I like.
Yeah, but if they would have skipped that part.
Oh no! I like that. I mean, knowing now, I could probably go back and watch it. And be like, okay, this is just the build-up. We're building to it. But these movies rarely have build-up. These movies, you just get to the point. Like, here we go. Here's what we're doing. And this is the first time I was like, oh shit! Like, we're getting like a lot of false starts here. Like,
which is nice.
It's refreshing. No, it was damn good. I thought the movie itself was really. I thought Oliver Reed did great as the main character. I like the story. I thought it's kind of unique that the werewolf curse comes from a different place other than just being bitten by a werewolf. Because we've seen that a million times before. I thought this was kind of unique. I like the idea that it was. And I shit on this in other movies, but for some reason I liked it here that true love can break the curse. And so when he was a boy and he felt that love from his parents, he was okay. And it wasn't until he gets out on his own and now that love's kind of not there. Now it's coming back to him or whatever.
Did he? I don't know what else. Hell. I was trying to think of, like, when he was born, did they expect him to be...
So... When he was born, because he was born on Christmas, remember they gave him the baptism, and the water is fucking bubbling up, and it was like storming. Like it's just like everything was telling you this kid is cursed. Actually, everything was telling you this kid is evil. Anyways, he's a good guy. Unfortunately he's a put upon villain in a way because he can't help being a werewolf. He's sympathetic. That's usually what most werewolf movies do. You rarely get the asshole werewolf who's just like, I love feasting on people. Usually it's a guy who's just like, I don't want this curse, and he gets it or whatever.
They feel like, they try to give you the I'm pathetic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that dates back to even Henry Hull and Werewolf of London, and Lon Chaney or Lon Chaney Jr. in The Wolfman. So like I said, I thought this movie was great. I thought he kind of had, I wish they would have fleshed it out a little more. He had that guy who was like his roommate that he worked with in the basement, making the wine or labeling the wine or whatever it was. I thought that was funny. Like, and I looked him up. He didn't do dick after this. Like, this is like his one movie, and then he just kind of disappeared. I'm like, that guy had charisma. Like, that guy had screen presence. Like, and I knew he was just a goofy friend who's gonna get killed, and he does. That's exactly what happens. They go out on a double date. Dude wolfs out, and then when he's out there, hey, where you at? Taken out. But I like that guy. I thought that guy did really well. Big thumbs up. I can't really say enough about this. Hammer does it again. Terrence Fisher does it again. Like, that dude, when his time comes to get inducted to Hall of Fame, he's getting in without even batting an eye.
You think maybe
the
movie took that much out of him that he was just like, after it?
I don't know. Oh, you mean the friend? I don't know. I can imagine because he didn't have a whole lot of screen time. It's like, I don't know. It made me one of those things too, where like, acting just wasn't his passion. You know, one of those things where he just kind of showed up and like, yeah, I'll do this for you guys. Was good at it, but then it was like, yeah,
it was more of a back then of just a walking up on stage and be like, hey guys, need something.
I mean, honestly, you hear about that a lot too, where people will like do a movie and then just decide like, well, I did it, but I got other aspirations I want to do, you know. So yeah, I get it. As you said, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I liked it.
Yeah, no, damn good. I said I have yet to be disappointed by a Hammer. I think the only one that we kind of gave, I forget the title of it, whatever the Dracula movie was that we did last time, that didn't have Dracula in it.
That was the dumbest shit.
Yeah, that was the only one. And even then, it wasn't like it was a bad movie, but it's hard to ignore the fact that Christopher Lee wasn't back and we didn't even have Dracula. And it's like, why are you calling it? Was it Brides of Dracula? Was that the
Brides of Dracula? Yes.
I just remember thinking like, but even that wasn't horrible. I could see myself.
It still made the top 10.
I was like, I won't go out of my way to watch it again. Yeah. But if I go over to someone's house and this is playing, I'll be like, yeah, I'll check it out. I don't know who the fuck's house I'm going to is playing.
I was gonna say,
whose house? Who am I hanging out with that watching these old horror films?
Unless you just happen to show up at my house.
Exactly. It wouldn't be Tyler's house. Come over for Thanksgiving. So I got Brides of Dracula on. Just doing a Hammer marathon right now.
I was eating some turkey, watching Brides of Dracula.
6.5 IMDb, as you said. Yeah. And this actually had a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
I would give it. Fresh. I would definitely bump that 6.5 up. From what they took, and the budget wise, they did an excellent job.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's like Hammer always. I think Hammer, they know what they're doing. They're like Universal. Even like because I didn't realize Universal was usually low budget until I started doing the show. I assumed they had all the money in the world because it looks great, and it's like no, they just knew what they were doing. They knew how to mass produce these and churn them out, and Hammer's the same way. So they knew how to make these movies on the cheap.
You had to back then. You had to make sure that when you were investing into doing something, that it's correct that you're doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you do not want the failure to happen. Because then back then your name would have fucking disappeared.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. And they were very unkind. You fuck up, that's the end of it.
Yeah, it was
moving aside right there.
You don't want to take that chance. So I like it that Hammer just they know what they're putting out.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I said it's going to be great doing this show. I'm glad you came on at this point because you're seeing the rise.
Yeah.
Or I guess we're not past right now. We're at the we're doing great, and then there will be a decline.
You're going
to see the rise and fall of Hammer, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
Well, to me, from watching these movies and then seeing the Hammer movie later on, the fall off was more sudden than a long laid out fall.
But I don't know. And even the fall, I feel like, now again, I haven't watched them. I will admit, I'm not going to be a poser here. I haven't seen
every Hammer movie.
I haven't. So there may be a point where like, yeah, these are dog shit. There's a reason they're gone. But I know what I have seen. I know they had a TV series in the 80s called Hammer House of Horror. I had the box set. I think it's really good. I'm a big fan of it. I had a handful of 70s Hammer films, like the later Dracula. Like when Dracula was definitely much older. He could be an ageless vampire, but it's like Christopher Lee's getting a little old now. He's still playing Dracula. And it's like, but I remember even like I think Satanic Rise of Dracula was one of them, and I remember really liking it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. And of course, Hammer's still going on today. They had a big period of nothing, and then The Woman in Black. Oh, there's a couple other ones, but they came back and. People kind of forgot, like, this is the same Hammer studio that did those other movies, but it's just, I like the Hammer in Black, or The Woman in Black, so, you know what, Hammer, I don't know.
Definitely give it, higher than 6.5. I would throw it in the low 7s.
So we're going to move right along now to our number 2 film, horror film from 1961. Mm-hmm. This is the winner of our Silver Skull Award. I am talking about The Pit and the Pendulum. How do you say pendulum?
Pendulum?
So you throw a J type sound in there too, don't you?
Yeah, pendulum.
I have always done this, and I keep writing notes.
Pendulum.
And I don't do that. I say pendulum.
I say pendulum.
Every goddamn time. Is that a Southern Indiana thing, or is this what other people do? I have never really had to write the word pendulum out in my life for some reason.
Egger's reason of fucking making it the name of the movie.
But I wrote the pendulum down, and I'm just like, am I saying this right? Have I been saying? Cause I know for the longest time I would say certain words wrong, and other people would call me on it. I would never say idea. I always said ideal. I have an ideal. It's like, idea. It's
I
always throw an L out there. But yeah, pendulum.
You can't. Not everybody can pronounce the words correctly, but sometimes the way that they get mispronounced
becomes the new pronunciation.
New pronunciation. It's like, well, that's like a badass way to say it.
We're going to say pendulum here on the show.
We're going to say pendulum.
So if you guys are objected to that, we apologize.
And if you're new here, we don't care.
But if we are right, tell us we're right. And if we are wrong, like give us a history lesson in the comment section. We'd appreciate that. To anybody who's actually here 2 hours into this podcast,
tell us how damn wrong we are.
This is the longest one we've ever done. I love it. We got 2 movies left.
We still got 2 movies.
So, the pendulum. So basically, this guy finds out that his sister recently died under mysterious circumstances, and he wants to find. And of course, the thing is, the person she married comes from a long line of Spanish Inquisition. How do I say that? Inquisitioners. They're not conquistadors. Inquisitioner. It's the Spanish Inquisition. The people who did that shit. Yeah. Inquisitioners. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I'm white trash from Bedford people. I'm so sorry. Anyways, the brother of this girl who mysteriously died, he wants to investigate. It's just kind of weird or whatever, so he's looking into it. All right. So this is. Let me go through my list of random tidbits and facts here. Directed by Roger Corman, starring Vincent Price and Barbara Steele, written by Richard Matheson, and based on the short story by Edgar Allan Poe.
Don't forget John Kerr.
What's that?
John Kerr as well.
And John Kerr's in as well. In fact, I didn't recognize that name starting off. I'm a John Kerr fan after this movie. I thought he did really well. Yeah. Big fan. Yeah. Thank you for bringing him up, because honestly, yes. I think the one thing people don't remember about this movie, anytime you think about not just the Pit and the Pendulum, but honestly, just Edgar Allan Poe in general, it's usually the climactic scene of the person being strapped to a table and that big-ass blade coming down. Even up to, I believe it was Saw 4 or 5, they did a scene taken from this where the saw comes down and just cuts the dude fucking in half, which is awesome. But yeah, that's definitely the most iconic thing.
Biggest
for this movie.
Paper cut you could ever imagine.
No doubt. So it was the success of this film, not the last one, but this movie, that would actually lead to Corman directing 6 more Edgar Allan Poe films. 5 of them would actually have Vincent Price in them. So, but I thought the last one was the one that kind of made the studio AIP go more. That one made this one, like the last successful one, the House of Usher.
Yeah. That
made this one go, okay, we're gonna make this one now. But this one's like, oh shit, let's make them all, and that's where that came from. So, anyways, it has been said that directors Mario Bava and Dario Argento, in fact, I believe Bava even went on record and said that this movie was very influential, and traces of what Italian horror would become can be traced back to this film right here. Which, when you watch this one, and then we'll watch the later Bava films, yeah, you can see, you're like, oh, absolutely. Turns out, though, and this is kind of interesting, I didn't know this, and I'll be the first to admit, like I always try to be completely honest with you guys on this show. I got no reason to lie, and anybody who's willing to listen to a 2-hour fucking podcast of 2 guys in their 40s talking about these obscure fucking horror movies, you deserve the truth. I have no reason to try to impress you, right?
I'm still fucking 39. Don't be
39, sorry. This guy's 40, this guy's 39.
I got a countdown going.
He's getting it. But I don't read a lot. And what I do read, it's usually Stephen King. Like, that's the only thing I really read. I read little bits here and there. I'm more like an article kind of guy. I'll read the shit out.
Audio books have become my best friends.
And so a lot of these old books, I just never got into. I tried to read H.P. Lovecraft for a little bit. If we ever get to an H.P. Lovecraft movie, I'll rant about that. I'm not impressed. Oh, he's a famous. He's like an old author. He did a lot of horror stuff, like Cthulhu, like that whole Cthulhu. Lovecraft's his last name. H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft.
But anyways, so Edgar Allan Poe, only thing I ever read from him was The Raven, and the only reason I read that was not because I'm a horror guy or got into a gothic phase. It's because of The Simpsons. I was like, oh, I want to read, because after Treehouse of Horror, I was like, I want to read that, and so I did. And honestly, I was reading it with James Earl Jones' voice and then picturing Bart as the Raven. So it's like, I couldn't take it seriously. So anyways, what I was getting to is, I never read any Edgar Allan Poe. Turns out The Pit and the Pendulum is a short 2-page story.
Okay.
That's it. And so basically what they had to do, Richard Matheson had to basically completely, except with the exception of the person being strapped to the table. Like that's the only thing from the story is literally the pendulum.
Everything else was brought in.
Added Richard Matheson. And so Richard Matheson's a guy too, we're getting to his era. I am a huge Richard Matheson fan. And I discovered him late in life. He wrote movies like The Box and Stir of Echoes. And I remember seeing his name going like, okay, what else he's written? And when I looked him up, I didn't realize this guy was like a horror/sci-fi writer, but he was really prolific in Hollywood. So if you ever IMDb Richard Matheson, you'll see just a list of just tons of fucking movies that this guy has written.
Okay, he's a screenplay.
Yeah, and he definitely, like this guy, another one that when we get to him, he's in the Hall of Fame. Like this guy has Hall of Fame written all over him for sure.
So they used.
If Abel Gance got in, Richard Matheson's definitely
He was
in.
based off the.
Yeah, he wrote off the Edgar Allan Poe, short story.
Okay.
So, like I said, he took that little piece, but he wrote everything else completely around this thing right here. So they took a lot of the sets from the previous movie, House of Usher, carried them over. But then Corman just went to various studios just to keep costs down and just took the sets from them. It's like, hey, can we rent this set from you guys? And so that's how he did to keep a lot of costs down. So again, Corman, like William Castle, hell of a producer. He was a good director though. That's what separates two. But Corman knew how to stretch a budget, and that's one thing we'll kind of get into a little bit here. John Kerr, he wore a metal band under his shirt, so the axe itself was rubber and wood. It's a wooden axe thing, and then the blade part was hard rubber. Okay. Thing is though, it was built on this thing that would just constantly swing. The mechanics of it. It would rip into you because again, it's fucking your flesh, boom. And so he had to wear this metal plate over his gut, and then they put the shirt on him. So when you see it in the movie cutting the shirt, it's literally cutting the shirt, but he has a metal plate to protect himself.
Centimeters away from his actual skin.
And
that's crazy that they would go to that length to get that scene.
I think at that time, you didn't have the CGI you have today, or you didn't have a better way of doing it. I feel like what I would have done on a no budget would be have a close up of it, so you're not actually seeing the whole thing down. I'd just be like, all right, Tyler, hold the blade, run it across now, and then I just shoot the blade in his stomach, and that's it. Here though, he's got a good shot back. Because you want to see that. Yeah. I think too, in case if it was a fall, it would help cushion out a little bit too, because again. Unfortunately, accidents can't happen, and so I'm not really against them going this far with it. But John Kerr was very nervous. It took a lot of convincing from Corman, and Corman actually had to get into contraption to kind of talk him like, "Hey, look, it's going to be fine. Here's what's going to happen." And that helped John Kerr calm down quite a bit.
But if that was me though, I would want that fear.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I guarantee it. Yeah,
your character.
There's no acting. Exactly. Yeah, you're going to literally be giving a very authentic performance.
Like there's been a lot of times where people have said that these scenes that I've done have scared the shit out of me, especially the Michael Myers. Yeah. When in the day they were scared. They didn't just
intimidating. Yeah.
That right there, getting a knife, a blade.
Yeah.
Hanging above.
That is a blade. This thing's like massive. You know what I mean? Like it's a big ass. It's like some pyramid head would be wielding around.
Did they ever say like the dimensions on?
I may have read it, but I didn't write it down. But it was massive. I just remember reading. Basically, took it in. And this thing was.
So they had to rely on some heavy duty.
Oh yeah. This set was legit. Yeah. In fact, the studio he had to rent out for this had to be massive because he wanted that overhead shot. Now the pits part around it. That was all matte painting that they added in post. But the actual scope of that stage and that giant blade, all legit. So yeah, they had to get something big enough. So that thing was good size. This would end up being at the time the most successful AIP film at the time. Stephen King read this little short story here, or short little blurb here. In the 8th grade, this movie came out, right? For him in the 8th grade. And he loved it. And so he decided that he was going to write a novelization based on this movie. And he wrote 8-page little novelization of this. And then he would sold 30 copies at $0.25 apiece. His teacher saw him doing this. And here's what I think is really weird because, like, who gives a shit? Yeah. But the teacher was mad that he was plagiarizing this movie. And he goes, you don't have the copyright to this? And I'm like, what teacher cared? But made him give the students their 30 or their 25 cents back. And I'm just like, what a dick. And I'm also like, but I guess at the same time, like, they would teach you if you're wanting to be a writer, you can't just be stealing. But again, it's like he admitted it was a novelization. So I feel like that should be kind of a, I don't know.
So that's the true day that the, don't copy somebody's shit.
So it goes back to 8th grade, yeah. So when this movie came out on TV, ABC showed it. It was too short, and they wanted to have it fit into that 2-hour time slot. Of course, that includes commercials, but even with commercials, it was going to be too short. So they actually had to shoot extra scenes. So they shot a bunch of scenes of, it was the actress. I forget the girl's name. The main girl, though. Not Barbara Steele, but the other one. The one who plays the, oh shit, forgetting her name already. I know you got this thing written down.
Yeah, I got it somewhere. Maybe
it was Vincent Price's sister is who it was. I can't think of her name. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll move on until you find it. But the girl who plays Vincent Price's sister, they shot a lot of scenes with her, like she was in a mental institution and she was recounting this movie. So you just had a lot of extra filler thrown in here. However, guess who played one of the orderlies?
Who's that?
Guy named Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding himself.
Oh, shit.
So if you somehow come across the TV version of this, you'll actually get a little bonus with Sid Haig in there. So that was that right there. Was her name Elizabeth?
I think.
The character's name? I forget the actress. I don't care shit about the actress, but
the character's name was.
So either way, just so you guys know, it's the one that played Vincent Price's sister. That's who I'm talking about. So, The Pit and the Pendulum. When this thing first started, my initial reaction was, and this only lasted for a few seconds, but my first thing was like, oh, this is going to be just like the House of Usher. I like the House of Usher. We blew it when we did it, last time too. So, you guys know I'm a big fan of that, but I was just kind of like, I don't know, this is going to be more of the same. And I was quickly surprised at how different this movie was. And I was really surprised that, like, even Vincent Price gives a totally different performance, which I was really thrilled with. I love the gothic imagery. Love the look. It had a very dreamlike quality to it. And it wasn't nearly as surreal as House of Usher, but it still had that vibe to it. Almost like you are in another world, inside this house or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, not reading the books.
Elizabeth Barnard.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
That's it. So, as I'm watching this movie, I'm digging, the way it looks. The acting. Again, I wasn't familiar with John Kerr, and then whenever I see him here, I'm like, dude, this guy's really good. Now I look at him, I'm like, oh shit, okay, this guy is going to be in a lot of stuff coming up. I really, loved his performance here. The story was really good. So the one thing I really dug about this as well was just how brutal. We get scenes of him when the flashbacks of young Vincent Price when he sees his father catching his mother and her lover. And he throws her in that Iron Maiden, and you're like, holy shit, like this is getting, whipping him and beating him.
The Iron Maiden is one of them things that just like being trapped in, with sword blade.
Now, I'm going to hit spoiler territory. We've been doing this throughout the show anyways, I guess, but this is one of those that it did shock me because I wasn't expecting it. I was wondering early on, is this going to be truly something ghostly, or is it going to be the Scooby-Doo ending where you find out there's actually, not what it seems, pull the mask off, oh, it's not a ghost at all, it's someone that... And it is a Scooby-Doo ending. We get, you find out that the guy who basically, there's a doctor who confirmed the death of the wife, the main character's sister, it's him and Barbara Steele, who plays Vincent Price's deceased wife, they are having a love affair. And she fakes her death. Now, at this point, Vincent Price has been driven mad. Because the whole time... Even I'm watching it thinking Vincent Price, like, he's going crazy. He keeps acting innocent. Yeah. And I'm like, no, this motherfucker, he's guilty. Like, he did it. Like, he killed his wife. We know he did it. Because, again, I just watched House of Usher, and that was a fucking plot in that movie. So I was just like, this is it.
The one that's
and so when you find out that he didn't, and he's been driven insane, and you see Barbara still survives or whatever, you're like, holy shit. Now, here's where the shocking part comes. Because what happens is, he ends up throwing Barbara Steele into that Iron Maiden. It doesn't kill her. She's still alive, but she's silenced by it. He ends up killing the other dude, throwing him off the pit. But then he catches his, I guess what's called the ex-wife now, the main character, John Kerr. He catches him, and he, in his mind, is like, you're the one cheating with my wife.
Yep.
And then when he sees his sister, he's like, and you're the whore wife that cheated on me. He's flipped. And then we have to visit Price We All Know and Love. Cool thing is, at the end of this movie, I can't remember who it was. It was like another housekeeper or something. He comes down, and Vincent Price falls to his death. And then they saved the John Kerr. They get him off the table, and they're like, let's get out of here. And they're like, we're just going to seal this room up.
Yeah, never.
Now acknowledge it. It's done. And the last shot is them walking through the door, and the camera pans over, and there's Barbara Steele still alive in the Iron Maiden. No, she's not innocent. She purposely did all this thing. But to know that she's going to bleed out to death in the Iron Maiden because of this ruse that she perpetrated, oh, it's just desserts, and I love it. It's one of those downer. It's not even a downer ending because, again, it's like, we don't sympathize with her. She cheated on her husband and tried to get him to kill himself. So it's like, go fuck yourself.
That was like kind of like a mind fuck.
It was, because I wasn't expecting it. I'm just like, okay, ending, we're out. And then when it came over, it's like, yeah, we're out, but guess what? This one's going to get a little bit more. It really was almost like the Sardonicus, at the end when the caretaker can tell Mr. Sardonicus, it's all in your head, but he doesn't. And he goes, nope. You're stuck with that smile forever. And the guy just crumbles. Same thing. I love the ending. Now, the difference between this and Sardonicus, though, is Sardonicus was all about that ending for me, personally. Pit and Pendulum was solid throughout. I'm really excited. I've only seen maybe one other outside of our watch right now, Edgar Allan Poe, Roger Corman, Vincent Price collaboration. So I'm excited now to see more. Now I do hear that this is probably the best one of the bunch. Like this,
it could be
this, and from here on out, they're not nearly as good. Now, the one I watched, it was either the Conqueror's Worm or the Witchmaster General. Whichever one of those is Edgar Allan Poe, Corman, and Vincent Price. I've seen them both. I really like them, and they were fucking solid. So honestly, I don't know. We may still have some good stuff ahead of us here. But what I've read from other critics is this was the peak of it. That don't necessarily mean the others were shit, but they're just not on this level.
Well, I mean, do you look what you have to follow after this one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's not even following this one. It's because you're not even following the story. You're following what Richard Mathis created for the story. You know what I mean? So it's like, you gotta, it's a tough order.
You're going to put that a little extra more.
And I don't know if Richard Matheson wrote the others or not. I'm really curious to see what we got ahead of us, because I'm really curious to see where this series of films takes us.
I have to make a note of this spot, just because if we come across it, we'll be like, oh.
Yeah, you'll know.
You will know, damn it, it's either a downfall or it's...
At what point, does it taper off? Well, at what point does Vincent Price leave too? Because it's like, what would make him go, I don't want to do any more of these?
Do you think he just reached a certain point to where he's like...
Tired of it? But he's the kind of guy that I feel like... And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking him, because I feel like he's a great actor, and he well deserved the praise we always give him. He's already in our Hall of Fame. He's in our Horror Hall of Fame. He got it for being in The Invisible Man Returns. So, but... he seems like the kind of guy who would not turn down a job.
Yeah,
not necessarily not turn down a job. He makes sure he's always working. So maybe that could be the case where he maybe already has something on the table and he's like, I'm going to do that instead, or maybe a better opportunity. But I just feel like, I don't know. I've seen him do some stinkers.
That reminds me of somebody I know. One project's not enough.
Not enough. I got to have everything on my table. I just got to fill it up. It's like Thanksgiving. You got to have everything.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised by how much that if he was doing that much and still putting this product out.
Yeah.
Like his brain must be working like.
And there was other years I've covered where he did like 2 or 3 movies a year, and you're just like, damn, like he's working. You know, he's a worker. It reminded me of Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi back in the day. They were the same way. They would churn out numerous titles in just
with
1
the
year.
films being shorter back then.
It had a lot to do with that. I'd say
They
a lot.
had they were able to
Yeah, a little more time to do it and everything. Not as that, but I feel like they also worked quicker back then.
Yeah.
They meant to work quicker. Like
well, you didn't have as much that you were putting into the.
Not a lot of post production, not a lot of
Yeah.
special effect. It's just it was a wham bam.
You knew that you were going in, and if you screwed it up, like, damn, that cost us.
All right, Tyler. So, what do you think about the Pit and the Pendulum?
I like.
What's your thought?
So IMDb gives a 7.0 rating. I would go higher. I definitely would put that maybe in the
I
higher
agree.
higher 7.9.
I went up to 8 with it. I thought this movie
Yeah.
was fantastic. It was a movie I really dug. It's definitely on the high end of that. Even this was close. This was one of those that really.
And they made an ass load of money.
Oh
on this.
yeah.
So they had a $200,000 to $300,000 budget, and they ended up grossing in $1.5 to $2 million, which for 19, of course, don't forget we're talking about 1961.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We're not we're not in today's stage, but that,
See,
that's a win. That makes you want to go and do, and like all the projects that you kept doing. Well, it's like, all I'm doing is winning. Why would I quit?
Well, I mean, they made 6 more after this, so that's exactly it right there.
But yeah, definitely would catch it again.
See, I had 1.2 million on my notes. I see you got 1.5 to 2 million there.
Yeah, that said it was 1.5 to 2. That was
so it did really well for itself. There.
It did real. Even if it did the 200,000, it's still.
Oh yeah, it's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know that. Yeah,
the money, but
definitely dominated.
I always wondered. So the directors and everybody do they put a certain budget? Like they're like, okay, we need to make this amount of money no matter what.
Typically, so when you are when you're a producer that's putting the money up, or a studio putting the money up, ideally, obviously you want to make all the money, but
yeah,
you're kind of, your bare minimum is you want to make your money back. Now, whenever you read a budget, one thing they never add to the budget is marketing. I'm not sure if that was like that back then and during this time or not, but I know that like today, let's say you make a movie for $50 million. You always kind of add an extra $10 million onto that just because for marketing purposes or whatever. So even like you'll read like a movie's like, it was made for $50 million and it made $53 million. So it broke its budget. Well, it really didn't because they still spent a lot of money on marketing and everything else. So you really got to go kind of above and beyond your thing. So so typically as a producer, you would want to basically make back more than you put into it. And again, like I said,
Well, I mean, if you're even if the budget was 300,000 and you're still pulling in 1.5.
Yeah, absolutely. That takes back to in this era, you hear like in the modern era today, you hear numbers like 6 million, 3 million, very low budget. Like that's just, that's crazy to us. I'm like, I love that 3 million, but movie wise, that's low budget, especially in Hollywood. The story I always love though is, I may have the numbers kind of switched around here, but when Sinister came out with Ethan Hawke, directed by Scott Derrickson, it was a $3 million movie and it grossed $18 million. Now, on the top 10 that week, it was like number 4.
Yeah,
only made $18 million, and it was like, okay, compared to like and I'm gonna make a movie like compared to like Star Wars or Marvel or whatever, they're making hundreds of millions, but it's like Sinister made $18 million on a $3 million budget. That's 6 times this thing. That's insane, And it's like they just basically made their entire whatever,
and they didn't have to put so much into it.
Exactly. And again, it just goes to prove what good marketing and what a good movie can do.
If you have the right mind, you can take anything.
Exactly. You can make anything. You can put a spin. That's what I said. I love the Carney mindset, and I said one of the Corman was the guy, not necessarily in this movie, but in other movies. He would always try to work under budget.
Yeah.
So you give him that $200,000, he would try to do a $100,000 movie and then make another $100,000 movie. So now he has 2 movies to put out there on just $200,000.
And then you can look at it and go, even if you make 800 to $1 million, you're still.
So if one movie bombs horribly, doesn't matter. You just made $100 million on this one, or even if they both play mediocre, that's still more than what you would have had, regardless. So it's like,
it is a smart idea.
Very smart.
It just has to be very brain fatigue.
I think it's one. Yeah, you definitely gotta know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, you'll definitely you gotta have the knowledge, the know-how, the smarts to pull it off for sure. Alrighty, so that was, and I should mention it had an 89% Rotten Tomatoes.
That's damn.
They have a weird thing. Not to get too off topic because we have our own fantasy movie league. Rotten Tomatoes has a weird system. They don't necessarily go by numbers to consider what's a certified fresh. It's by the number of critics who gave it a high whatever. Yeah. So you may even get like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and it's considered just fresh. And then you get like an 85 that's considered certified fresh because of their weird algorithm and formula. But either way, 89% still awesome. That's passing.
What they've been doing has been working for a very long time.
So we're going to move on now to what is our number one horror film from 1961.
Our number one
winner of our Golden Skull Award.
Winner of the Golden Skull Award is The Innocents.
So The Innocents is basically about this young girl who's essentially like a nanny. They kept calling her a governess. I guess it's the same thing.
She's
definitely a hot nanny. And she ends up, taking this job, caring for these two kids. However, she feels like the house could be haunted and the kids could be in danger. Okay, so let me run through the notes here, and then we'll get into our reviews. This is based on the novella "The Turn of the Screw" by Henry James, and this was co-written by author Truman Capote. I don't know. I know the name Truman Capote, but I don't know anything about him. All I know about him was he was a homosexual writer in an era where you couldn't be a homosexual writer, and wasn't he also like a convicted or accused communist during that era?
Yeah. He wasn't convicted. They never convicted.
Yeah. So this was, but I'm guessing. Well, this would have been after that then, because the commie scare was in the 50s. So this would have been 61. So he must have been. Yeah, he must have been.
Everything must have worked out.
Worked out good for him. So, anyways, the novella was actually. So this movie, I said, was based on that novella. But however, the actual script was initially based on a stage play that was based on the novella, and I guess the stage play differed quite a bit from the actual book. So. One thing that the stage play kind of added to it was, in this movie, they tried to play it off, and I'll get into that in a second, but they tried to play it off like it could be either there really is ghost in the house or it's in her head. And they say they try to do that, or that straight line,
She brought the damn ghost.
Could be. That's a good theory right there.
Because that was something that I thought would be... Yeah. Okay, so something in her past is sticking with her.
That carried with her to this thing.
Carried with her all the way. Everything was fine with the kids.
Until they, yeah. So, that was in the script, or I guess, the original script play, that was like, nope, this place is just haunted, there is no subtext. However, when Truman Capote and the director got together, they're like, no, we're going to make this more ambiguous. And I guess that was the thing the director kept harping on. I think it was a guy named Clayton? Jack Clayton. He was really big on, he wanted this to be kind of iffy and in the air. He didn't want you to ever know if the ghosts were real or not. Because of the way the book is written and the way these movies are made, there's a lot of debate about actually what was going down. There's a lot of debate as to what was actually... Oh, sorry, I read the wrong thing on that one. I tried to argue with you earlier about 1.2.
Yeah.
1.8 is what I had written down.
1.8.
Middle of 1.2.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, I got 1.2, as you can see, for this one. My notes. Anyways, so there is, if you go to any kind of film school, they teach this movie in general, just on film theory and just the different, and essays have been written. I mean, you look up anything about The Innocents, you can find...
It's a damn good movie.
Brilliant, but it's also just the themes and everything that kind of ties into it. Apparently, they did make a prequel to this that came out. I didn't know about this until I did my research. In 1971, it did a prequel called The Nightcomers, which sounds like a porn I watched once. Stars Marlon Brando. However, guess what? It bombed, so... They didn't give a shit, but that came out a good 10 years later. You were talking about how you think the ghost, a good theory is, that she brought the ghost with her. There's a theory out there that actually the ghosts kind of represent from her or manifest themselves in her
Yeah.
because of her sexual repression.
Yeah.
And they think that maybe she seems very prudish, and the fact that it makes everything seem very sexualized or whatever, and that's what the ghosts kind of come from.
It has to be. I know I say that because it has to be like her past, which I don't think they even got into.
No, but they did have one scene early on of her taking the vows as she's at a church or something like that. But then it goes straight to
But
this.
it doesn't show anything that would.
There's nothing that would
signify
indicate
why you have
traumatic, whatever. Yeah, so
which gives you the option of like
in your head you can kind of
you can put it together how you want to in your head.
If the little boy look familiar, it's because we covered him last week or last month or last episode 7 months ago. He was in The Village of the Damned. He was the lead boy in that. So young kids, this one,
creepy ass,
creepy one there. Of course, it's funny because the actor who played Quint, the old groundskeeper who's dead, who's haunting possibly this house, because of his contract, he actually got second billing on the poster. Even though he doesn't talk, he's only in a handful of scenes, and he's literally, the amount of screen time you put together, it's less than a minute.
Of him actually showing.
Second build. Dude, I want his agent. That's the guy I want right there. Give me that in my contract. My God.
How much money was it?
Who knows how much he made, but literally the fact you get because that's one thing in Hollywood is a big deal is billing. You don't want to be billed too low because the stars get top billing. So he got himself second billing right there.
That's great.
The movie itself, it starts off with 45 seconds of darkness, and it's just a black screen, but you hear a child singing a song.
That song
for 45 seconds. But apparently, projectionists, especially here in America, thought like that's a mistake. They clearly messed up. They chopped that off and literally just put it straight to when the movie starts. Oh. And so it's like you kind of lose that kind of creepiness of that, setting that mood.
I'm glad I watched it on a.
Oh yeah, because once they realized that was the case, they're like, yeah, don't do that.
When it started, it was like it's the children singing stuff. Like I don't know, it always just gives you that creepy opening.
Gives you a bit of a creepy vibe to it. And then a nice little directorial thing here, detail, is the main actress, her character, when she arrives at the house, her outfit, blinding white.
Yeah.
I mean, bright. They put extra lights on her to show that whiteness. And then as it goes on, it's a little less white. And then it gets a little darker. And by the end of the movie, she's literally wearing a black dress. And it kind of shows this. And we talked about with Hitchcock did the same thing with color in Psycho, where, whenever we first meet Janet Leigh, she's in black bra and panties, and that's her outfit. But then when she decides to give up, to turn herself in before she's brutally murdered, when in her mind, though, she's doing the right thing, she's going to turn herself in, she's now wearing a white outfit because it's the representation of, she went from being bad to good. And here, it's not necessarily she's going to bad, it's the darkness of the house corrupting either her or... Again, how your represent or what your interpretation is of this, it's the house is affecting her now, and now she's getting darker as
Well, yeah, I mean, the house brought out things she didn't have any idea about.
Yeah,
which was I like that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I love that. I love like that.
More psychological.
Yeah, the more psychology that you throw into it, and then not only that, but you can add horror with it. It's perfect.
So I'll let you take the lead on this one. Give me your review. Give me your full-on Tyler thing about this movie.
First time ever seeing this movie. And after I watched it, I was like, yeah, I could see why we put it where it is. It's just, it's very well written.
Yeah.
I don't, a lot of movies, they give you too much. It can
tip into melodrama sometimes, and this one never felt like it did.
Having your imagination play out a little bit while you're watching the film, it's kind of like, well, what the hell? What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
Like, why did she get set to this journey to come to a house that obviously it's bad?
I think if you like this, if you kind of like the more your imagination run with it, slow burn. Yeah. You may like the Haunting. Which, we haven't covered that yet. Actually, that's coming up. Never mind. That's 63. And then I was going to say The Uninvited, which was 45, I think. But
That's just scary.
it's a lot of that of like,
Yeah.
you don't really know what's going on. Is it ghost? Is it not? Because that's the thing. For the longest time, especially in the early days of cinema, the ghosts were never ghosts. For the most part, it was always that Scooby-Doo ending of, nope, it was actually just, your cousin Jed just trying to scare you out of the house because there's a treasure or there's a will or there's something in the house that you want, and they want you out of there. But we're getting to an age now where it's like, no, the ghosts are very much real. Even if they're in your head, it's not just going to be, Billy Bob, in the wall.
At least it's actually going to be
something. It's going to be something.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I had to pause it, zoom in, and I was like, there he is.
In the window.
Like the window scene is like, but, I like how they used that format in the movie. DB gave it 7.7, and I feel that wasn't
criminally low. Criminally low.
I would actually put this like in the 8.8 to 9.1.
It's high 8s for sure. That's where I got that.
I wouldn't. And maybe it's because it's my type of movie.
Yeah.
Because it plays, I'm more of a psychology guy than
more like the psychological
shit jumping out and making me piss my pants. It's better.
Oh no, absolutely.
The way they made this movie and they put everything together, without a doubt, it gets the gold.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This definitely earns that gold. Undisputedly, yeah.
But could there have been ways to? Yes, you could have maybe put in her backstory within through the entire movie.
Give a little bit more context or whatever.
They had no problem with the ghost thing, so why not have the imagination of her thinking about what she used to do that makes her so bright.
The argument, though, I guess with that, and a lot of people are saying, honestly, I didn't pick up on this subtext. I'm telling you what I've read. It's more of the sexual nature of the groundskeeper with the old governess. Or I'm gonna say Danny. I don't like using governess. That's too British. We're gonna go Danny. So with him, basically fucking the old Danny, and she's appalled by this.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she's holding in these feelings because again, if it shows her taking her vows earlier, it means she's a part of church. She's probably maybe not a nun, but maybe making her way to become a nun, or maybe she was a nun and came out. Also, you're not getting a lot of dick that way. You know what I mean? So she has all these feelings that are pent up, and it's when this ghost is very sick. And even the kid, is making the moves on her at points. Kisses her, tries to steal a kiss here and there. And she don't know how to deal with this. Why was she? She's never experienced this before. And so maybe that's why they felt like maybe you don't need to give her a background or too much context because you're going to fill in the blanks yourself. You can kind of figure, okay, maybe this is why she's experiencing, why no one else in the house seems to notice it except for her and the kids. Now the kids, you can always write off as if it is ghost, they have that extra ability to see. They always say children and ghosts can see things adults can't because they're innocent. They're the innocent.
It's like an extra chromosome.
Or it's if you're going with it is just in her head. Yeah. But kids can feed into that delusion almost because again, it's like they're kids. They don't know. So if you're telling the kids there's a ghost over there, yeah, I see it. They don't see shit, but because they're kids and they're willing to believe adults, they can buy into that. So that's why there's another housekeeper, the cook or whatever. She doesn't see anything.
Yeah, she has no idea what's going on.
Nothing. It's just her. She knows there's something wrong, and she knows they're acting weird, but she doesn't actually see anything. Nothing going bumping nice for her.
It's more like she can just walk through the ghost of whatever they're
exactly.
At, so.
But
it was
So for me, I was kind of leery of this because honestly, I mentioned The Haunting. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of The Uninvited. I am a guy, for the most part, I'll contradict myself quite a bit. I think there's a time and place to tell, not show. And there's also a time and place to show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And more often than not, I'm like, just give me the goods. Like I don't want to pretend like Ruth is in her head. And even today, we've got a nice little cycle of there's a lot of horror movies coming out today that they are metaphors for like mental illness. So it's a woman being haunted in her house, but it's not really a ghost. It's all like schizophrenia or Alzheimer's, dementia, something like that. Maybe she just had a kid and now it's anxiety about motherhood or whatever. And they play it off like ghost movies, but they're playing on those fears. And I'm sick of it because I'm just like, just give me a good old fashioned fucking ghost movie. Give me Insidious. Give me The Conjuring, please. Enough of this cryptic bullshit. So when I went into this, I did know the reputation. I'd never seen it before, but I knew the reputation. Actually, I watched it before we watched it for this. So I'm talking about the first time I watched it. I went into it going, okay, this is one of those movies. It's going to be all, is it in their head or not? And I watched it, and I was surprised how quickly I was dragged into it. Like, I was hooked quickly. And I was like, dang, I can't explain why. I don't know if it's just the atmosphere, the story, the action. It's a combination of all. It's a damn good movie.
When she started, she gave me that Mary Poppins vibe.
It really was just like, to me, I thought it was just going to be a standard generic. I thought it was going to be a lot like The Uninvited, is what I thought, or The Haunting. The scene that creeped me out the most is the scene where at the gazebo, where the hell that thing is, and it's raining. And she's trying to find the kid gets away, and she's trying to find it, and then she's like, the woman in black or whatever, she told me. And she looks up, and for a split second, you see the woman in black standing in that field. Dude, it's not front and center. I had to pause it and rewind it. Like, did I see that? And dude, children right now talking about it. It just like, what the fuck? And so it was, now I thought that was the creepiest thing in the whole movie. It set me up for the rest of the movie though, because now every time it's a dark, she has her candelabra. I can never say that word right. Candelabra. She has her goddamn candlesticks. As she's going down the dark hallway, we're zoomed in on her, and that's all you're seeing, and it's just this darkness around her with this light on her. And all the time, dude, I'm hooked. I'm creeped out because I'm like, what's she gonna bump into? What's she gonna turn around and see? And there never really is a jump scare beyond that. But it does in your mind, like, fuck, there is something in the shadows. Like, I've already seen the woman in black. I know, the man in the window. And so for me personally, I differ from your point of view, and a lot of people think it was in her head. I do take it as that the place is just an evil place. It's a haunted place. Yeah. Something made that groundskeeper, Quint, go crazy and start acting. Because they didn't go too much in detail, but in the story, it's almost hinted at that he was performing these sexual acts on the nanny in front of the kids as well. Yeah. And so something tells me that it could be him, and maybe it's not the place at all, it's just him. Or kind of like the House on Haunted Hill, where basically, not the Vincent Price movie, but the Haunted Hill House, one thing. The Haunted Hill House, where maybe it's just a place that almost attracts darkness. Almost like the Overlook Hotel in Dr. Sleep. It's just a place that's just a beacon. And so this groundskeeper gets there.
It's a feeding ground for him to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as he's, and again, it's almost implied too, like, maybe it started out as sexual abuse towards the previous nanny, but then she was kind of into it. And, and so it fed more into this darkness even more, because now they're both into this debauchery, and now there's children who, again, I don't think they ever said they were ever directly involved, but then they do kind of lay that theme out there when the kid who's supposed to be possessed by that former groundkeeper is trying to fucking hit up, and they even like kiss, so it's just like, and so there's a lot of, and I think it's a lot of that I think any movie that can make you think, and not in a way of like this movie is just confusing and weird, but it's like, no, it knows what it's doing, and there is all this weirdness, but it's not spelled out for you. I like movies like that. Yeah. Look at movies like The Trial, Sacred Deutsch New York, or Sacred Nicotine New York. Movies like that, I just love that. Even if it doesn't make sense and I can't fully explain to you, I know how I feel watching it, and I know in my mind where it's kind of going or where it's at or what's playing out in front of me. But the fact that a movie like this has so many different people with so many different opinions of what's actually happening, that's also cool too. Because again, you're telling me you think one thing, I'm telling you I think another thing. I don't think either of us are wrong or right. I think it's just that's how the director even said. Yeah, the director even said he wanted this to be ambiguous. He wanted you to question what's real, what's reality, what's fake.
But it makes it more fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you just go right into it and you're like, oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, well,
with the previous 4 or 5 films on this list that at the bottom of the list, those were films that it was just spelled out and maybe not perfectly
Like,
spelled out each
yeah.
time. So it's like, yeah, but you get something like this where it's like it puts a little more thought into, and that's why, and again, I feel like this is one of the few times where I feel like our list was pretty much on the money because I feel like we were on the same page on a lot of stuff, and I feel like a lot of these movies, especially the top three, I have no qualms about them being the top three. I think these, Curse of Werewolf, Pit and the Pendulum, and fucking Innocence were three solid fucking movies. I give them top 8s. At the end, now it'll be interesting to see if they hang on though, because like I said, I always keep track of my top 10s. So at the end, I'm gonna do that with you too, by the way. And start thinking about that. Look at the previous movies that I've covered already, but kind of get yourself a top 10 movies prior to 1970. So when we get to the end of 1969. I'll release both of our videos of, a little musical montage of, our picks. But I can already tell you right now, these three have already knocked out 3 from my previous list because they're that good. Now, will they hang on? Who knows? Because 1960 is actually a pretty solid year for horror. And we got some really good stuff coming up. So I'm really pumped to see how these will hang on. But at the same time, that's champagne problems. If you got this many good horror films and you're trying to figure out which ones you want to keep, it's great stuff.
That's like saying, you know what? My money won't fit in the safe.
Exactly. I got my cup runneth over.
My cup runneth over.
So when Tyler came to these hallowed halls, that is the Retro Horror Academy, he brought with him an idea. He wanted to see, could we take the top film, and we already agreed together that Psycho trumps every movie that came out prior to 1960 in the realm of horror.
Yes.
So we don't have to go back and try to be like, well, wait a minute, let's put him up against this. No. Psycho has already been established in stone. Can't change it. I tried. No, but Psycho is. We both love that movie. It's our number one movie.
Tried with what movie?
Tried with The Beast of Yucca Flats.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we agreed that Psycho is number one movie. So he thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of have a number one face-off each time we do an episode.
So
we'll take the number one movie from 1961 and pair it up against Psycho and see which one will come out on top and who will face the number one film from 1962. So, Tyler, I'll let you kind of take the stage here. What movie? And we were talking about Psycho, obviously, but
Psycho.
Go ahead and set the stage for us here.
In the Innocence, they're in the boxing ring, and it's some heavy hitting, but we both agreed Psycho is just too much.
Psycho's
too much,
and that's the one that I will clarify for you guys. It's like a nuclear reactor. We're both got to enter our codes at the same time. We got to turn the keys at the same time. We have to agree together that something's going to beat Psycho. So even if I disagree, I'm like, nah, Tyler, I think you're wrong. This movie's better, and he thinks Psycho's still better. Psycho still gets the champion. It's a champion's advantage. So we both got to agree that Psycho gets knocked off.
And I have picked that Psycho will remain until we crossed into the 70s. You have said that.
I will say for me though, I don't know if you'll feel the same way, but I will say for me, I do have a few contenders coming up the ranks that I think.
But you've seen a lot more movies than I have. So.
But I think there's gonna be some that I don't know. We'll wait and see. I am curious to see. Yeah, absolutely. So we both agree Psycho will remain the best film. So it's holding on 2 years in a row. It's got
2 years in a row. Plus,
and then you said you also want to kind of do you want to kind of compare the averages.
Yeah. So the average rating for the
IMDb.
The IMDb. For 1960, we took all the movies and averaged it out, and it turned into.
Did you include the?
I included. I included every movie that we go over.
Okay, gotcha.
So we got for 1960, it was an average rating of 7.0,
which is pretty fucking good.
Which is really good. So then we turn into 1961, and the rating drops damn near 10 points.
So we're at
6.1 in 1961. Now, we both know that number is going to come well up.
Oh yeah.
But it's what this is the build up to when it peaks.
Yeah, you really want to see the flow of the actual.
So basically, I want to see like in a graph form of.
That's awesome.
How it's going to erupt.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
And
hell yeah.
We're finding out like. Even though certain years have monster movies, sometimes there's more shit movies.
I can attest to that. Just in the earlier, I would almost want to go back and find what the average was earlier too, to see what it builds up to, because it's like, I'm curious, was it always low? Because there's been some shit years I had to cover and basically fake my way through these podcasts and be like, because it's been rough sometimes.
It'd be a little project. I could round that up.
Oh yeah.
We hope that you have stayed this long, and if you have, we NWO bow to you for life.
3 hours, bro.
Yeah, 3 hours.
3 hours.
But
you know what?
Had some hellacious information to give out.
We had some stuff to talk about. We like to get sidetracked. I mean, we kind of hope, it's like we assume you with your friends, no one just stays on topic. You start talking, you bounce around. So we hope,
you ever watch the Bob
journey.
Ever listen to the Bob and Tom show? Do they stick to news?
Exactly. They're
No.
So it's like,
somebody's giving Tom shit.
And that's how we're always talking with you guys. We want you to be the third man in our, our little group right here. So you know what? If you made it this far, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Although I guess we should probably get those thank yous out of the way very early on for now.
Yeah.
Just so, I'll give them a warning like,
by the way, we're just going to let you know you better have a big bag of fucking chips.
No doubt. Take a bathroom break, guys. You've earned it. So, anyways, we'll get our little split out of the way. Let us know what you thought about any of these movies. Give us your opinions.
Give us your
memories.
top 10.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there's movies we left off the list. There's ton of movies that came out, during these years. So, something that you think deserves to be on this list, let us know what it is right now in that comment section down below. Of course, don't forget, as always, like, share, and subscribe. That's how we're going to reach more people. You guys, the ones who are devoted to us, we appreciate you guys. Spread the word.
It literally takes no energy to hit the like and the share.
Exactly. And of course, we got that bell icon. I've been doing the bell thing on my other projects. I always feel dirty doing this whole shield. It's like, I don't want to be that YouTuber who does this, but it is how people get their shit noticed. So you hit the bell icon because it'll notify you every time we release.
And then, hopefully we'll get better on a better schedule.
And like I said, I do
busy.
plan on trying to, hammer this down. We're getting into the winter months, so hopefully that'll slow down at my work.
Not a lot of road construction you can do if it.
You would think, but my God, it's funny when we're going off topic. I'm sorry, it's 3 hours, but I'm still talking. I remember when I first took this job or doing a flagging for road construction. Everyone kept saying, "Well, Daniel, you're gonna lose money. Whenever it rains, you go home.
Yep.
Anytime it's bad weather, go home. It snows, you go home." And literally, I have been out in the piss poor rain. I have been in below 30 degrees when the ground's solid, but they gotta get that shit opened up because there's an emergency gas leak. I have been in some weather. Now, don't get me wrong, they do rain out, and they do determine sometimes, it's too cold, they'll get out there. But they also don't. There's been times, there's been plenty of times
tell you to suck it up.
Exactly. And so it's one of those things where it's like, yeah. So that's our next one. Be respectful of your roadside flaggers.
Yeah.
They take a lot of shit as it is, so just remember those guys.
And they're not paid enough.
Not nearly enough, so definitely show some respect. So, guys, on behalf of the Retro Horror Academy, I'm Daniel.
I'm Tyler.
And that was 1961, and
we'll see you in 1962.
1962. You're dismissed.